For anyone that's watching, welcome back after probably more than a year, right? Since you last saw my face and Rafi Bhai's, as well as AP's when we brought him on a couple times. We do this because we absolutely love this sport, right? This is purely out of the love for the game, and we're so happy to be coming back. আমরা জানি যে পুরা 2025 সালে একবারও আমরা আসলে একটাও এপিসোড রিলিজ করতে পারি নাই. Life has been very busy between the two of us, but it's really, really good to be back. And এই বছরের জন্য, even though you're only probably going to get one episode out of us, we are looking to make an all-encompassing sort of episode that recaps the entire year, right? For the entire Bangladesh Powerlifting Association Federation. And Amra হচ্ছে, we're going to go through a list of questions. We're going to go through some rapid fire stuff as well as some detailed takes. Keep in mind, fair warning that all opinions shared on here are purely subjective. This is just our personal opinions. This is not meant to be objective. It's not meant to be gospel. It's not meant to be anyone's like only source of truth. Kintu, with that being said, let's get started. Rafiba, please go ahead. Let's go
Okay,
through
so
the
we
list
have
of questions that we have prepared and get this ball rolling.
yes, আমাদের সাথে we have the two best male and female powerlifter from the year 2025. So very excited to have Aditya, the goat, Tulona, the female goat. So welcome, guys. তো আমাদের first category যেটা নিয়ে আমরা কথা বলতে চাই, let's do best lifts of 2025.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we all start with squats. So who has the best squat in the year 2025 in your opinion? Tulana, why don't you start?
Somehow the least prepared মানুষ সবার আগে যেতে হচ্ছে।
তোমার মনে যা আছে, like তোমার
যা যা
তোমার
মনে করিস
যারটা ভালো লাগে
জাস্ট নিজেরটা
তোমার
বল।
you think that's like yours, that's also fine.
আচ্ছা, যদি হেভিয়েস্ট লিফটের কথা বলি তাহলে হচ্ছে আইমান ভাইয়া হচ্ছে সবচেয়ে বেশি লিফট করছিল স্কোয়াটে। হ্যাঁ, ওনার মেবি জিএল পয়েন্ট কম, বাট হেভিয়েস্ট লিফট এবারের।
Okay.
এরপর হচ্ছে আমি রতন ভাইকে দেখছি, রতন ভাইয়ের স্কোয়াড তো অলওয়েজ ভালো। তো আর তাসিন ভাইয়া,
Mm-hmm.
আমার কাছে এই তিনজনই আর কি স্কোয়াডের জন্য ভালো লাগছে আর কি।
Hell yeah. I don't want to go next. I'm not prepared for any of these questions. So AP Camera, let's throw him under the bus.
AP?
Oh, so I'm up. Okay. So I would say are we talking about juniors or like overall, like সবার মিলে?
Overall, just the
Overall,
lift
okay.
of squat, yeah.
So I think the first one that comes to my mind would be Waliul. He broke the squat national record with 213, and he's like a very promising lifter. He's been doing pretty great. I follow him on Instagram, so I see how dedicated he is, you know. So he's doing good. Waliul আছে, তারপর রতন ভাই আছে। My second pick would be Ratan Bhai. He did extremely well. Like he even went through this accident, right before the game, and he told me like he was taking like weeks off, and yet he made an appearance, and yet he performed pretty well. My third pick would be Al Sami. Yeah, Al Sami is like, I don't know how that dude does it. Like, oh, arm wrestling খেলে, এই খেলে, সেই খেলে, মানে he's just built like a machine. Like he just puts his body through a lot, and you just see him showing up everywhere, winning and doing good. So yeah, these are my top three squad picks for this year.
Awesome.
Yeah. এখন এখন মিশেল বলো।
I have so many names in my mind, right? Like আমার কাছে, for whatever reason, the first person that comes to mind is Arman. I think in terms of judging throughout this entire year, right? Like I'm not just looking at BPC, like শুধু nationals এর কথা চিন্তা করতেছি না. I'm thinking of throughout the entire year, মানুষে কে কিরকম squat করছে. Arman and Afrid are the two heaviest squatters in the nation, right? That's like bar none. Like ওদের কোনো competition-ই নাই. I'm a little bit sad, Jay. Like Arman did not end up getting his squat. I think he got called on depth, if I remember correctly, for either his second or his third.
Oh,
Possibly his third, because second, I think like slip katsebole, he ended up failing on strength. Um, I'm sad about this because I think like Onekeri into squats borderline depth chilo within nationals, and it went in the favor of some lifters. It didn't go in the favor of some lifters. And look, AP and I both have judged at a national level. And I think আমরা একটু বলতে পারি যে it depends on the day, right? Like at the end of the day, you don't contest যে ও ওই দিন মানে জাজ ওকে হোয়াইট লাইট দিছে আমাকে রেড লাইট দিছে বাট আমাদের স্কোয়াড যদি আমরা ডিপেস্ট পয়েন্টে স্ক্রিনশট করে দেখি it's the same exact depth. No, like at the end of the day, benefit of the doubt goes to the lifter. If there is some doubt, তাহলে they will red light you. And like judges are not perfect. They're not machines, right? But I was definitely sad because arm under squat that comes to mind. I think he ended up attempting the heaviest squat of the night. So that would have been really exciting if that came through. On that note, I thought if we're being realistic, right, Rotan Bhai's squat, you can't go without mentioning it. Rotan Bhai is a freak when it comes to being the one of the best squatters in the nation, especially pound for pound. I thought Rottenmeier's third squat was borderline, right? If I'm being very honest, I thought it was borderline. I'm just going to call it as I see it. But he ended up getting the three whites. And I'm extremely happy for that, right? Because look, like if the stars could align for one person to have the worst prep, and then the stars ended up aligning for him to actually get a borderline squat call his way, right? Chetri White Spice, even though he ended up getting that bike injury, like AP mentioned. And I know Rafi Pai will touch on this because you coach him. I'm extremely happy about that. And for that reason alone, right? Like, and just for the sheer, like, good God, like 243 Yakun, when he squatted it high for his second attempt, it was slow. When he squatted it to depth, right, on the day for his third attempt, it looked 2 RPEs easier. Itamar got crazy legs, right? He just got angry and he just went with it. And like he had tunnel vision. Onno kono কিছু চিন্তা করে না, he just squatted that shit. He came back out. And it was beautiful. আমার কাছে এটা অনেক inspiring লাগছে যে like sure he was let down multiple times, but he did not let that phase him, right? That's adaptation. That's a key skill as an athlete, and I love seeing that. So Rottenpai takes first place, but honorable mentions absolutely have to go to Al Sami's squat. Sami is he's gonna come up more than once amongst my responses to this like entire list of questions. Sami is a freak. But Sami's squatটা অনেক জোস লাগছে আমার কাছে. I'm sad Tasin did not end up hitting depth. If we're being honest, I think I watched his replay a few times. I think a slow mo Dixie, and 237.5 was not to depth. 227.5 was a perfect depth squat, right? But I think he just needs to sink that an inch and a half deeper. Dasan is one of the best squatters in the country, and there's no denying this, right? He is a phenomenal squatter. He's probably the most improved squatter alongside Ayman. And that's saying something because Ayman is a phenomenal squatter, Ajkal, right? Like Ayman was squatting 200 something, like less than 210 last year, and he added like 40 kilos out of the blue to his squat. That's kind of crazy. So yeah, Ayman absolutely also goes on my list of shout outs because that 245 phenomenal. Like if you squat more than freaking Aditya freaking Parvis, right? Like that's I tip my hat to you for sure. Like I mean, AP is my forever goat within the sport, and he's a well-rounded lifter. And if you can end up squatting more than him, like power to you, right? All the credit goes to you. So Ayman, Tasin, Sami, and then I think I would say the closest second place out of all my honorable mentions definitely goes to Waliul. Waliul is squatting things that 213 would have been a national record 1 year ago. That's insane to me to think of. Last year, before Tassin and I squatted at nationals, the 74 kg national record was set by me multiple years prior to that at 212.5. 213 would have been a national record last year. Like if you let that sink in, and the fact that a freaking sub junior 17 বছর বয়সে এই জিনিসটা আমাদেরকে দেখাইলো, there's no limit. The sky is the freaking beginning. Like it's not just the limit, it's the beginning for Walu. And so super excited to see this kid like come through, but yeah, Rottenpai takes the cake for me.
Yeah. আমার তিনজনের কথা বলবো, obviously the first one comes to mind is Al Sami. Like I'm not gonna repeat everything that you guys just said. He's just a freak of nature. He's just like a living, breathing testosterone hormone. Like, the guy is jacked, the guy does arm wrestling, the guy talks shit on social media. So like very, very animated character. But or squatta is like, he's got fairly long femurs, but he just muscles it out. Like, and that's just like something, there's some beauty to it. Second mention, obviously Tasin, like everything Michelle just said, he is arguably one of the best pound for pound squatters of the nation. Like ওর গত বছর 230 was just a very, very impressive feat of strength. Unfortunately, এই বছর অল্প একটুর জন্য ডেপথ মিস হয়েছে, but he still like squatted 227, so that's a big squat as well. But রতন ভাইকে নিয়ে আমি একটু বলতে চাই যে মেনি অফ ইউ গাইস নো যে রতন ভাইয়ের হচ্ছে অ্যাক্সিডেন্টের কারণে পায়ে অনেকখানি কেটে গেছে, আই থিঙ্ক 8টা মতো সেলাই লাগছে, রাইট? সো যেই উইকে অ্যাক্সিডেন্টটা হয়েছে ওই উইকটাতে হি ওয়াজ সাপোজ টু হ্যাভ হিজ বিগেস্ট স্কোয়াড, right? So I think it was like 5 weeks out or something. So he was supposed to take 250. And like the way our blocks were progressing, যে ধরো week 4 squats would always show up, right? And he was pacing for a 250 squat. তো তার ঠিক আগে দিয়ে অ্যাক্সিডেন্টটা হলো, and he was just heartbroken, alongside all the everyone in the powerlifting committee who follows him, right? তো তারপরে লাইক আই থট সে কম্পিটই করবে না। তারপর একদিন আমাকে বলতেছে যে ভাই আমি খেলবো। আই এম লাইক I was very surprised না এরকম একটা মোমেন্টাম হারায় গেছে। খেলার ঠিক আগে দিয়ে অ্যাক্সিডেন্ট হয়েছে, 2 সপ্তাহ একদম জিরো ট্রেনিং, নাথিং এট অল।
I would be devastated.
ইয়া, সো আমাদের কাছে 3 সপ্তাহ সময় ছিল। এক সপ্তাহে we just kind of get back to normalcy. 2 সপ্তাহে we just trained into the meet, like we didn't take anything heavy. So just last year week he squatted like 235 for a triple, and that's when I knew like okay, there's something big in the squats coming up for him. I wish he was squatted a little bit heavier. তাহলে হচ্ছে ওর আর তাসিনের মধ্যে ব্যাটলটা would be আরেকটু ইন্টারেস্টিং হতো. But when we talk about battles, we'll just elaborate more on that. But I think my top squat for this year, 2025, Rotan Bhai takes the cake.
Perfect.
All right.
Let's move on to bench, tahole. We can go back in the same order, but I would say what would be easier, we can give Tulona a little bit of time. Let's change up the order, and I can go first, bench or jono.
Okay, yeah, let's go.
And Rafibha, feel free to like point at the next person, or whoever's speaking can kind of point at the next person, and then you pass the baton along. So I would think Jay. Look, I'll start off with honorable mentions. I think super proud of Nazmul for benching 127.5. Incredibly proud of Saad for attempting to break my national record with 132. And through, like the 74 class, I think the one thing we've always kind of lacked has been bench, because 66er bench national record is still heavier than 74 national record, which is a pain in my butt, right? Like I cannot accept this. আমার ভালোই লাগে না এটা। I think কাউসার হাবিবি ভাই হচ্ছে 137.5 bench করে গেছে সেই 3 বছর আগে মনে হয়, and we still haven't beat that in the 74s, and that's embarrassing in my opinion, right? So we need to get better at that, and these boys are making strides. So shout out to both of them. Really wish, again, like Arman keeps coming up on this money list of mine, but really wish Arman ended up getting his bench. If I remember correctly, he wasn't able to get his third bench. Is that correct, Rafi?
No, he was. He got 152.
He did 152. Okay. Yeah. See, the thing is, Arman is a ginormous man. Like, he can't get his, or literally, he says this verbatim, যে আমার rear delts গুলা ঝুলে থাকে off the side of this narrow ass bench, which is 9 inches wide, and it's supposed to be 12 inches wide by international standards, right? But Challenge makes narrow ass bench pads, and I don't know what to say about this, but এই কষ্টের মধ্যে থেকেও Arman ended up benching 152.5. When again, we know Arman is capable of benching as much as AP did on the day, maybe even 2 kilos more, and that would have been very exciting, right? On that note, though, like I have to tip my hat to AP. Like he ended up taking bench king for a good reason. He ended up PRing his meet PR bench while having dropped around 4 to 5 kilograms from his body weight in meet last year. So মানে বডি ওয়েট কমায় বেঞ্চ বাড়ানো is probably the hardest thing out of the three lifts, right? Like body weight কমায় স্কোয়াট বাড়ে, কারো কারো body weight কমায় deadlift almost সবারই বাড়ে, right? Because midsection একটু skinny হয়ে আসে and like your deadlift leverage is improved. That's kind of like basic knowledge because we know Tulona next year যে 69 এ 200 কেজি minimum second attempt করবে and then 220 কেজি উড়ায় মারবে, right? And that's what happens. But বেঞ্চের জন্য when you reduce your body weight and then still end up PRing, like that's unbelievably impressive. I cannot lose 5 kilograms and still bench 145. That's not possible for me. So AP takes the cake for this for sure.
Thank you.
Right.
All
AP,
right,
why
I'm
don't
going
you
to
go?
point at Rafi Pay next. You go next.
Okay. So the top three people for bench that comes to my mind, আমি হচ্ছে মাত্র আমার mind change করছি because I just noticed something. So third place I'm gonna put Mehdi Bhai from 66. I think Mehdi Bhai bench, let me just go and check. 127 or 125 at 66. So আমাদের Adib ছিল. Adib was just a phenomenal presser. And I think Mehdi Bhai is just carrying his torch.
Yes,
Second place, I just found out about him. Shifat Ahmed in the 93s. I think he is under Arman,
I
and
believe
he
so.
benched
Yes.
150 at a body weight of 90. So that's a very impressive bench. Um, and obviously, third place, and third no, my first place, that the first one that comes to mind is obviously Aditya. Aditya, he is a 105, but he weighed in at 97.7 and bench 160.5. That's the national record. And Aditya, everyone knows Aditya as a puller. He's got
Yeah,
long arms. He's a puller,
right.
but like or bench style, like there is no arch. He's just just brute strength,
It's
raw
a
power.
Chad bench. That's what it is. It's like
Yeah.
এরকম করে ধরে just নামায় উঠায় দুম করে. It's kind of
And
crazy.
আমাদের bench padটা বেশ narrow, so it's like that তোমার shoulder properly বসানো অনেক difficult, and he still is able to bench like something monstrous. So that's my best.
Like how, like, or what, মানে you cannot put it in logic যে ওই বেঞ্চে having a good day, but like that day, just while warming up, I just felt it was going good, so I just knew it was the day to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tell us more about it. Let's have AP go next.
Okay, so my top three benches from this year. Okay, so I think I'm gonna start with Waliul's bench. I think bench is definitely one of his strong lifts, other than squat. So I think he did 112.5. So like given his age and everything, I guess that's pretty impressive. তারপরে like open I think Imran from Chittagong, he made significant progress in bench, but he just could not showcase it on the platform. It was just not a good day for him. I think Flex did good. Flex did 140.
It's on my list.
That is raw strength.
That
If
is
you talk
real
about,
raw strength. We talk
yeah,
about retard strength. Like you
yeah.
have a shit ton of strength, bro, right? But
Right.
good God, like Flex fired, unbelievable.
So Flex, yeah, he actually performed pretty well. He got podium. He did like a 212 or 215 squat. And yeah, the bench was pretty decent. Oh, he's just lagging behind on deadlifts. So I guess, that's just one of those things. But yeah, and for the top, yeah, I guess if the other guy Rakibul, who he was in strongman this year. So if he competed this year in BPC, and last year he just competed for bench. So
Yeah.
ও যদি এবার বেঞ্চ করতে আসতো, then that would have given me a good fight for the bench king title.
Oh yeah.
So, so that would have been fun. Even you actually, if you competed like 74, say, if we had a 140 plus bench, that would have definitely given you a pretty decent GL.
I did my calculations.
Yeah,
158 would have been enough.
yeah. So, but yeah, I guess, I'm just happy with where I am with bench for now. Yeah, for now, I'll just take that. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah.
No, yeah. Opu Bhai, we absolutely always miss him. Like Opu Bhai is, if I'm being honest, like AP and কি বলে, Afrid have the strongest lower bodies. Arman also, right? Some of these boys have the strongest lower bodies, if not the three strongest lower bodies in Bangladesh. I think when we think upper body, Opuphai is the first person that comes to mind. Like Opuphai থেকে একটা ঘুষি খাইলে আমি শেষ। Like আমার skullটা দেবে যাবে। Genuinely, like it's terrifying to think of to get in a fight with that man. Like I competed against him like in different weight classes, but strongman competition, and we ended up competing together. He's not a normal human being. Like there's something amiss. কিছু একটা ভুল আছে ওনার ব্যাপারে, but kind of crazy how strong he is. Tulona, you're up. Best benchers or the best bencher. একজনকে বললেও হয়।
যদি বেঞ্চের কথা বলি তাহলে আমি বলবো বাংলাদেশের কারোরই বেঞ্চ ভালো না।
That's a fair point.
We deserve
হ্যাঁ
this.
হ্যাঁ
Agreed.
এখন মানে যদি বিপিসির থেকে বেস্ট পিক করতে অবভিয়াসলি এপি ভাইয়া। আর হচ্ছে মানে বেঞ্চটা আসলে আমাদের আরো বেশি থাকা উচিত। আমি হচ্ছে বাইরে জাস্ট একটাই কম্পিট করছি, আমার অত এক্সপিরিয়েন্স নাই, বাট মানে আমাদের বেঞ্চের ফ্যাসিলিটিস অনেক কম দেশে, যার জন্য আর কি বেঞ্চে আমাদের অনেক প্রবলেমস হয়। তো এইসব মিলিয়ে আর কি এপি বেস্ট। তারপর আরমান ভাইয়া হচ্ছে গিয়ে সেকেন্ড, কজ আমি আনন্দ ভাইয়ের ডেইলি বেঞ্চ করতে দেখি। আমি ডেইলি দেখি উনি বেঞ্চ করতেছে, তো
I'm
ওনার টেকনিক্স
days a
অনেক
week bench.
ভালো, অনেক
It's
কিছু শিখছি আমি ভাইয়ের থেকে। এই তো, আর
yeah.
কারোরটা আমি না দেখি নাই।
I agree, Jay. Man, look, Armaner bench, one of the most technically proficient benches I've seen. Pura BPR mode, right?
হুম
Only
হুম
technically strong. It's just it's a treat to watch, right? So again, like I'm not if the stars can align well, tahole, I think AP, Arman, both are going to be benching close to 3 reds next year, if not even higher. And I want to see that happen. Hopefully, AP does not try to do some hero cut down to 93 or something like that. Fly up to Mongolia and like compete at Asians. ওইখানে।
বাট আরমান ভাইয়া করবে।
Oh, Arman Bhai
আরমান
to
ভাই,
105
হ্যাঁ।
Ashes. So I want to see that head-to-head battle, right? Like if I have we're almost on Christmas Day. If I have one Christmas wish, it's gonna be like I want to see AP versus Arman. Because those are the two biggest totals of Bangladesh. Like if those two get to clash, it's gonna be really, really exciting in the same weight class. And then we can have a proper 105 class for once, right? What the hell is 93 plus? I don't want to see none of that. Like I want to see 105. So yeah, should be very exciting. Amar, yeah, let's move on to next questions. I don't want to yap on the first question for way too long. So let's go right into best head-to-head battle of 2025. I would love to start this off because I have a couple different things in mind, right? Best head-to-head battler জন্য I think while I was working on operations behind the scenes, like every time, for example, AP যখন 160.5 bench করবে, right? We were confused. আমাদের 0.25 kg plates নাই, right? And so we were confused. How do we end up loading 160.5? And so every single time someone needed some form of like difficult math done, like I was sitting next to the judges just to take care of loading plates, right? I was running মানে behind the scenes কিছু operations কাজ করতেছি, but I was also very much like prioritizing loading plates, right, and everything, because our spotters and loaders are not professionals. Every year there's some new faces and they're getting used to this. বেশ নতুন একটা experience ওদের জন্য. So I would say, Jay, like while I'm working on everything, মানে operations wise, Ratan Bhai is my teammate, right? We're both coached by Rafi Bhai. I'm gonna have my boys back. And আমি রতন ভাইয়ের numbers call করে দিচ্ছি while Rahat and Sam are actually handling him, right? And it came down to Dasan's third deadlift. It's not supposed to do that. Dasan is supposed to like gap Ratan Bhai by 25 kilos on his best day, right? But for somehow the stars have aligned to a point where Ratan Bhai got such a significant lead on squats, right? And then we ended up taking another bit of a lead on bench, Jay, and we left no kilos in the tank on bench, right? Like squats say, maybe we could have had 2.5 more. Maybe that would have ended up being a high squat again. Who knows, right? But in my opinion, we ended up milking everything that was there on the day, especially given he missed his second squat on depth. We made the right calls, in my opinion, right? And mane, in retrospect, the fact, Jay, like, after Rottenheit takes his opener, I think he ended up taking 220 for his deadlift opener. They wanted to take 230 so bad. And আমি ফোর্স করে স্যামের হাত থেকে কাগজটা নিয়ে 227.5 লিখে দিছি, right? And I was like, do not jump more than 7.5. I promise you this is the right move. Dasan ends up taking his second attempt as planned after Rotonbhai takes his 227.5. And Rotonbhai still has a zero point 0.5 kg lead after all second deadlifts are completed. On total, Rotonbhai still has a zero point 0.5 kg lead, forcing Dasan's hand to make his third deadlift. And look, Dasan is the type of lifter. He's one of the big four, right? Like myself, AP, Saad, and Dasan, we're the big four. Like we're a little bit head and shoulders above the rest of the competition in terms of GLP. So Dasan should really be ideally using his third deadlift to like by second deadlift, he should have won his weight class. By his third deadlift, he should be chasing AP, right? Or chasing Saad, whoever's kind of leading the race at the moment in time. He never got a chance to do that and had to play it safe. Dawson ended up deadlifting 1 kg less than he did last year to beat me, right? Last year he pulled 271. This year he only had to pull 270. So I would say, Jay, like genuinely আমার কাছে মনে হয়েছে যে মানে this was probably my favorite battle. Also, I just realized, did we go around and do deadlifts? We haven't done deadlifts, have we? Best lift of the year. Yeah, we haven't done that. We're gonna go back to that. I
Not
read
yet.
about this, but let's go back to deadlifts. আমার কেন জানি হঠাৎ মনে
Right
হচ্ছিল
in the middle.
missing. Let's do deadlifts first. AP, go
Okay.
ahead. Take us off. Kick us off.
Okay, so if we are talking about the top deadlifts, yeah, just taking a look at it. I think I'm not gonna like go in order. I'm just gonna mention the best ones I can think of on top
Yeah.
of my head. So
Mhm.
I think Imran Bhai from Chittagong, he's definitely made very significant progress. Like every year, it's been his progress is pretty good, and like this year he went for 285, which was a pretty good call for the day. So Imran Bhai ase and RK are but for the big pullers. Oh, so I'm gonna talk about also like Zafir, because he's also a puller. Yeah.
Boy.
Zafir, yeah, so Zafir has been doing pretty well for his pole especially. So he's also like Amamoto, he's also a deadlift specialist. So, that's his lift. So he's, I know most of his lifts is like, not even maxing out on his third. He had like maybe at least 5 more kilos in him. Yeah. তারপরে, yeah, I guess for the last one. I'm not entirely happy with my deadlift this year. Like it was okay, but like I mentioned, in the post I made in the meet recap, my back was a bit fried. Going into the meet, I was not feeling my best. So I was actually surprised. Like when I started warming up, especially after squats, my back felt pretty cooked. So I had to be very cautious benches especially benches because that's when our hams and lower back starts to cramp up.
Yes.
অনেক carefully. Even though you guys might think I don't touch, I do try though. I do try. If you've gone see, you've seen me set up for bench. People go like, the fuck is this dude doing? Yeah,
Right.
but I try. I try. I put in the effort. It just wouldn't show anyway. So ওটাই so ওটা করতে যে মানে usually আমি যতটুকু কাজ করার চেষ্টা করি তার থেকে কম করছি. Just to minimize the strain on my
Right.
lower back. So yeah, bench went great, but deadlift I also had to be pretty cautious. So I just knew that I did not have 330 that day. I knew. I just, went for it, because I had already won, gotten everything I needed. So,
Right.
but even like look before I saw the video, I didn't know how far it went up. Video to I was like quite surprised. It almost there, probably 80% or a bit higher. It was almost there. I was like
Yeah.
happy, because like ওই যে আমার 320 যেদিন pull করি, like just 1 week out at Metal Cave, even that day I had 330 plus. Like if I'm being very honest, yeah. So, but yeah, we just kept it there. But yeah, I'll just take it, because no matter what, maybe if it required more, I'd have it. But yeah, but it is what it is. I'll just take it for the day. Yeah.
All right. I can go next. Unless you want someone else to go next, bro.
Anyway, anyone, তুমি যাও, সমস্যা নাই.
Sounds good. All right. First things first. Saad won best deadlifter on the night, right? You can't. We would be amiss without mentioning Saad. I think Saad is neck and neck with AP and Tasin as in my opinion the best deadlifter, and I think it's too close to call for me, right? On the day, anyone can end up being the best deadlifter. Look, if AP ended up pulling 322 and a half or something, which I fully think he had in the tank, because again, like I'm a very competitive athlete. So আমার মাথার মধ্যে, I was calculating everyone's top end after
But
the
not even 322 though. I would need 312 just to, chip
I
it
know,
in.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So like your top end, in my opinion. So I mean, based off of everyone's third lift, like
Yeah.
for example, Zafir ended up pulling 255, but Zafir had 260 on the day, in my opinion, right? So that's what I'm kind of going off of. And he squatted, I think, got the 197 by 200.
200, yeah. But
Yeah. So he probably had 205-ish, right? Around there, 204 to 206 probably would have been his top end. And so based off of that, look, like AP had absolutely had 322 and a half on the day, in my opinion. And look, like in the past, we've seen AP have grip issues, but it just did not show up on the day, in my opinion. Like 330 was more of kind of missed on strength because I wiped that bar down for him, right? Before he ended up
got
taking
it,
that
yeah.
deadlift. So, like, I don't think it was much of a grip issue as much as because he's worked on that. Like, he's worked on his depth issues with squats. He's definitely worked on his grip issues. And it showed. But yeah, আমার কাছে, look, if AP ends up pulling 320 or more, or even 315, right? Like as long as we get to see the man PR the deadlift, I would give it to him. But for the night, I think Saad takes the cake. But there is so many honorable mentions. Deadlifts were a show. First and foremost, Mane, I cannot not mention Tuluna's deadlift, right? Like Tuluna, even though she's unhappy with it, 175 or moner মধ্যে অনেক মন খারাপ. If you guys can see it on her face, they're like, দূর বেটা কি করছি? I should be pulling at least 188 Shay. Again, she's just getting started. And when she ends up dropping the weight class like she's planning on, that deadlift is going to skyrocket. So, very proud of her for matching somebody at least one weight class above her on pulling the heaviest deadlift on the women's side for the night. So, that was incredible to watch, right? But I would also be amiss if I did not mention, just like we mentioned Walyul for the 213 squat, we have to mention the Sility 17-year-old. Shuvo deadlifted 250 kilos. He asked for 252 and a half. It was a mishap. It was an error on the spotter's end. Or a 250 load course sematro, but he still smoked it, right? And if Shuvo wanted, I think he probably could have pulled another 10 to 15 kilos on the day. And that's kind of crazy. 17-year-olds are not supposed to be pulling 260 plus, right? But he is. He's changing the game. He's changing the game as we know it. Just like Waliul is with squat. Just like some people will hopefully do with bench in time. Asha kara jai, inshallah. But yeah, that was absolutely fantastic to witness. I don't really have anyone else in mind. Look, I want to give it to I want to shout out to Imran Bhai for pulling 285, but I don't think it was a very clean deadlift. Of course, it was worthy of three white lights, but Imran Bhai, all of his body weight went shifted to his heels when he was pulling it. I'm the type of guy that loves watching clean lifting, and I don't think that was a very that was not his best execution, right? In terms of deadlifts. I think Imran Bhai is capable of pulling 295. Even on that day, he probably had at least 5 kilos more in him if he executed better. But he just simply could not. And I think it's got to do with Unar squats probably took a little bit out of him. I think he's failed the squat on strength, probably his second attempt, and it took more out of him than he wanted it to. So on that note, want to finish off with one thing if I could have changed it, right? I wish I could have changed Dawson's deadlift. I wish this dumbass, right? Like he's my boy. So everything Dawson does is personal for me. Like he's been my rival for the longest amount of time. Like 3 বছর বেশি হয়ে গেছে we've been rivals. I really wanted to see Dawson take the damn lead with 2.5 more. Like they're playing the long game. ওরা ভাবতেছে Ratan Bhai is going to pull 235 and so ওইটার উপর ভিত্তি করে he takes a second attempt. But I so wish Jitasan had ended up taking 2.5 more. I think he pulled 265 for a second attempt. If he took 267.5 for a second attempt, he would be 2 kilos ahead of Ratan Bhai. And then his third deadlift, he could have full sent it to 280. Right? And I would have loved to see that happen. We never get to see the freaking KOD, right? That's his nickname, and it's been his nickname for several years now. We never get to see this man actually max out his deadlift. So এটা আমার কাছে অনেক মন খারাপ লাগে যে I really wish if there's one thing I could change in terms of deadlifts, honorable mention absolutely because Dawson is still a phenomenal deadlifter no matter what he ends up pulling. I wish he had pulled 280, right? That would have made things really interesting on the day. All right, Rafi Bet, you're up.
So আমি একটা জিনিস মেনশন করতে চাই যে ধরো mid day deadlift is different from gym lifts. So that is something I guess a lot of people I guess are not paying attention to or not keeping in mind. But most of the time, when you are deadlifting in training, you're probably deadlifting first, right? Mid-day, you have a maximum effort squat set and a maximum effort bench set. That's going to fry you up, right? So you're going to kind of have to shave off some from your top end. But like এই জন্য দেখা যায় যে অনেকেরই ধরো gym lifts does not transfer well to midday performance, right? Because you're fried, you've cut a lot of weight, especially বাংলাদেশে ধরো সবাই big hero cut করতেছে. But the top, I want to mention top 4 people. Obviously, first one is Imran Bhai from Chittagong. Like he pulls conventional. He weighed in at 90 kilos, right? He pulls 285. That's like insane. Obviously, we have KOD himself, right? Like he has been, his deadlift has been like one of the best deadlifts of the entire like Bangladesh powerlifting for years, right? And our একটাই regret যে like we have never seen his actual true top end, right? And second হচ্ছে obviously Aditya probably had the higher top end, right? Even if he loaded like 312, that would have given him higher GL points. But just because on numbers, on just based off of numbers, I think I have to give it to Saad. Saad is just a phenomenal puller, and he's only getting better. But a year he cut to 74, so we don't know exactly how much improvement he made because I think he weighed in 77 kilos last year. It was 72 করছে, so that took a hit. So it's like hard to compare performance. Had he stayed in at 83, we could have had an objective comparison. Like এরকম similar body weight ওর এতটুকু বাড়ছে.
That's right.
But in my list, second most impressive goes to Aditya for based off of GL, and the best deadlifter of 2025 BPC is of course Saad.
That's right. Tulona, your turn.
সাদ
Tulona, তুই করছিস?
না, সাদ
না
হচ্ছে
বলছিস?
গিয়ে বেস্ট ডেডলিফটার, এটাই।
Saad best deadlifter done. শেষ.
Yeah.
Short and sweet. I love that. We should, guys, আমরা অনেক পটর করি ব্যাটাগুলা। তুলনা কত সুন্দর একটা short and sweet answer দিয়ে দিছে. That was great. ভালো লাগছে আমার. I should shut up. Um, okay. On that note, I've already gone ahead and answered my next question, or the next question for us, which is best head-to-head battle of 2025. Halfway through, I realized that I'm gonna deadlift a coordinate. So I'm gonna pass the baton along of best head-to-head battle to AP because I know what he's gonna say. Bro, you're muted. You're muted, bro. AP. Muted. Mute করা তুমি. Unmute yourself.
My bad. So anyway, so I don't really have much to add to that. So like I totally agree with you. It was mostly Tasin and Ratan Bhai. Their fight was pretty interesting, and it was really surprising how close Ratan Bhai came to getting the 83 kg national title. So that was definitely a good fight to witness. Yeah, that would be my answer. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this one short.
Okay, I'll go next.
Rafi Bhai, yeah.
So powerlifting, like when we think of powerlifting as a sports, I think the head-to-head battles is just the factor that kind of makes us feel that this is a legit sports, right? That's when like the mind games, the temp selections, game day performance, game day handling, everything comes into play, right? Your body weight manipulation, right? So I want to talk about 3 battles, and all 3 are great in their own opinion. So প্রথম ব্যাটলটা হচ্ছে the one we haven't talked about. That is one of my athletes, Shohan. He's an 83 junior, and one of my athlete, Abdullah, who trains under Arman. And Abdullah, I think, was a clear favorite for the 83 juniors or best squat chilo 210. He's a massive puller. He pulls like 260 conventional, bench bhalo. So he's very good. Unfortunately, or midday, I don't know what happened, but he ended up missing his third. And Shohan pretty much had a 9 for 9 perfect day. So Abdullah was clearly stronger on that day as well. Kintu just based off of attempt selection alone, and shout out to Michelle for handling him, Shohan took the win. And that goes to show, like, you have to be the best power lifter of the day,
That's
not
right.
necessarily the strongest power lifter of the day. So you
That's
have to
right.
make the right calls, make your attempts, and that's gonna increase your chances of winning that much more. So that's the battle that I want to talk about. Obviously, Ratan Bhai আর তাহসিনের ভিতরে, like, I love them both to death. কিন্তু Ratan Bhai is my athlete, so I obviously want him to win, and he had a chance. He had a chance. Like, um, গত বছর, like, there was no chance. Tasin was just miles and miles ahead. কিন্তু এই বছরে Ratan clearly had a chance to take a shot at the national title. But I think ও স্কোয়াড, আমি ওকে বেঞ্চে বলছিলাম যে তুমি let's do a 2.5 kilo jump instead of a 5 kilo jump, and like বলার আগেও অ্যাটেম্প দিয়ে দিছে, ভাই দিয়ে দিছে, আমি কি করবো? I'm like, okay, if he had 2.5 more on bench, maybe two more on squat, I think he had a shot, right? And that was so exciting to see. But I'm very happy for Tassin to be able to pull for the win. But yeah, that was an interesting battle. Our and the battle for the best powerlifter between Saad and AP. I think Saad made a lot of wrong calls on the day. Like, had he made right calls, I think he still had a very good shot of winning the best powerlifter, right? But midday, মানে যেটা হইছে সেটার উপর বেস করে we're making the analysis, not the hypotheticals, right? So based off of that, I think eighth in the battle ভিতরে I'm gonna crown the best battle to Ratan versus Tasin.
তুলনা, তোর কাছে কোন ফাইটটা সবচেয়ে ভালো লাগছে?
আমি তো খেলাই দেখি নাই এমন করে, ফাইট আসলে বলতে পারবো না এটা আমি।
তুই সাদার এপির ইয়েতে দেখিস নাই? ওপেনটা দেখিস নাই?
দেখছি, বাট মানে ফাইট লাগে নাই আমার কাছে।
আচ্ছা,
হুম।
we're gonna quickly take 30 seconds to talk to Ron ভাই যে তুলনাকে আমাদের বের করে দিতে হবে পুরো ফেডারেশন থেকে, because she's not paying attention, অন্য মনস্ক হয়ে ওপেন খেলা দেখছে, সো এভাবে হবে
কেন
না।
আমি অন্যদের খেলা কেন দেখবো? আমি আমার নিজের খেলা ছিল
বাহ,
2 দিন পরে, আমি অবভিয়াসলি আমার খেলার দিকে কনসেন্ট্রেশন ছিল।
true, that's
Exactly.
very valid. আমার কিছু বলার নেই এটাতে, I have no
So
response.
I think,
She's in a place
what she's
যে
saying
ওর
is
খেলা
she
তো
was
করার jন্য।
competing. She had something to look forward to. So
Absolutely.
she had too much going on in her head, so she could not focus on anything else.
That's
ট্রু।
beautiful. I love that. Like, or her whole thing was like tunnel vision, right? Like, and that's if you can get into that headspace as an athlete, আর কিছুই লাগে না, right? Like, you're probably golden for your meet day.
I can totally empathize.
Yeah.
Like, or she was eyeing the best female lifter, and me personally, I did definitely want her to win because a very well-rounded lifter, squats, bench, deadlift, everything you name it. So
Mhm.
she's been doing pretty good. আর মানে আমরা জিম করতেছি কত 8-10 বছর ধরে, and she's been
Right.
going there for like their one and a half year.
That's right.
That's totally insane.
Story of that.
এত
Yeah.
কম সময়ে এত ভালো করতে পারছে।
থ্যাংক ইউ।
Yeah.
রাফি ভাই, আমরা নেক্সট কোন প্রশ্ন জিজ্ঞেস করবো বলে ফেলো।
Did we go through best
Yeah.
powerlifter?
We have not, no.
Let's do that.
Let's do it.
Okay.
You want to start with sub junior, junior, open?
Yeah, let's do junior, sub junior first,
Okay.
and then move on to the open.
Sounds good. Who's going first? Point and shoot.
AP?
Yeah. I'm gonna start.
Mhm.
সো ওকে ছোটদের দিয়ে স্টার্ট করি। সো ছোটদের মধ্যে সাব জুনিয়র ওয়াজ বেস্ট সাব জুনিয়র ওয়াজ ওয়ালিদ, রাইট?
Mhm.
I think very deserving, extremely hard worker, and he definitely put everything he had on the platform. So yeah, I cannot think of anyone better than that. Yeah. And moving on to best junior, I think that was taken by Alsami, right? So he's been actually dominating the best junior for a while now. I'm not sure, this has to be his second or third title for best junior. এর আগেও জিতছে, I'm pretty sure. But কয়বার জিতছে ওটা জানি না. But yeah, but either way, he's been pretty dominant. He's got this pretty aggressive mindset on the platform. ঠিক আছে? So this once, actually he got a bit uh, aggressive. So আমি তাড়াতাড়ি যে মানে I want the best for him, right? So তাড়াতাড়ি যে ওর কোচকে বলছি যে just tell him to just
Calm
keep
it
it
down.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want him to get called out for his behavior or anything. ঠিক আছে? He has it in him, okay, just একটা মানে he's just one of the young, you know, bloods. So that's totally accepted. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, and it's also okay to, let your emotions out as long as you're not disrespecting anyone.
That's right.
So you can scream, you can say whatever you want, just, as long as you're not using any vulgar language,
Mhm.
I think you're good. Yeah, so yeah, best junior, yeah, I think yeah, these two would be the perfect pick. And yeah, I don't, and best open, I don't want to really talk about myself. I'm just happy hearing what you guys have to say. Yeah.
All right,
Perfect.
Michelle.
Am I up? Okay. All right. Within sub juniors, I am simply just gonna repeat what AP said. Walio takes the cake, right? But quick special mention to Shuvo. I think Shuvo ended up taking 201 for a national record third attempt squat, and unfortunately ended up missing his bench, if I remember correctly. He ended up missing bench for both his second and third attempts. E Carone, he ended up losing 7.5 kilos on the total. I'm pretty sure Shuvo was capable of benching 95 plus on any day, but unfortunately on the day he only had to leave with 85, so probably left like at least 7.5 to 10 kilos on the board. But here's the part that really like eats me away, and that's I think Shuvo probably had a pull in him that might have brought him neck and neck with Walu had he made his second bench as well, right? If he ended up getting, he doesn't have to make his third bench, right? Let's say he just gets 92 and a half. I think with good attempt selection, because this man, like this young man with his coach, they had the game plan of just shooting for Saad's all-time deadlift of 280 in the 83s, and they ended up loading 281. There was no way Shua was pulling that on the day, right? After watching his 250, or what was officially recorded as 252 and a half, there was no chance in hell he was gonna end up pulling 281. And I think AP would agree with me on this, Jay. Like, well, he was not going to pull 30 kilos more, right?
Yeah.
But I think if they made good attempt selections, I think good calls could have led to an actual like it would have come to that deadlift. Jay. Like, had he made that deadlift, let's say he picks 265, that's 15 kilos, and he ends up getting another 7.5 kilos on the bench. He might have been neck and neck with Walyul, and Walyul had a pretty perfect day. So that would be a little bit scary to think of, right? Like if we saw that actually come to pass, yeah, like Walio had such an incredible day, but Chuvo comes out of nowhere and like actually like matches him like blow for blow. That would have been really cool of a fight to see. So just kind of wish that that had gone a different way, but still very happy to see Walio win because that boy puts in so much work. And I see a lot of my younger self in him. So very proud of him. But on that note, for the juniors. I would say, look, I loved handling Sohan, right? Like he is a phenomenal athlete. Mane, he just keeps his wits about him. পাগল হয়ে যায় না মিড ডেতে অনেকেই কিন্তু দে গেট ইন দেয়ার হেড লাইক অনেক কিছু চিন্তা করা শুরু করে যে ও shit, এটা যদি না করি তাইলে মানে কি হয়ে যাবে আমার আমার মানে মানিজ্যত থাকবে না বা আমার এই হবে না ওই হবে না জীবন শেষ এরকম টাইপের চিন্তা ভাবনা this boy is so collected, right? So absolutely have to shout out to him for winning the battle against who we all expected was going to actually win the junior, like best overall junior was probably going to be Abdullah on the day, right? At least I expected that to come to be Mane if he ended up making all his lifts and everything. But on that note, shout out to Nazmul. Nazmul is a phenomenal athlete. He's probably going to be the future of the 74s. Unfortunately, we could not see I forget এপি রাফি ভাই মিরপুরের ওই ছেলেটার নাম কি he's a junior lifter লম্বা করে দাড়ি he had the national record squad before Tassin and I broke it a couple years back he ended up getting disqualified he bombed out on all three squads.
Oh, Nasrullah.
Nasrullah. Okay, Sultan
Yeah.
Nasrullah is another junior that probably could have really made some waves if he had actually stayed in the game. But unfortunately, after he missed his squats, I think he just left. He didn't bench or deadlift. He just left the venue. Won't cut up like I said. So that could have been a really good like potential battle as well there. Nazmul, of course, Shohan, and then very sad as well. Pranto did not have the day that he could have had. Pranto is a phenomenal junior as well, but Sami ends up taking the cake by, I think, one GLP over Nazmul. right? But on that note, I also have to mention Jay, Saad is looked at as an open athlete, right? Because Saad is head and shoulders above every other junior, but we cannot forget Saad is 21 freaking years old, right? So if we're gonna go by like legitimately who is the best junior of the entire year for me, it's gonna go to Saad.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right, Tulona, তোর turn. বল বেস্ট সাব জুনিয়র লিফটার তুই চিনিসই না যে কোনো একজনকে বলে ফেল
না,
আর
ওই যে ওয়ালিউল আমি চিনি ওকে, ওর স্কোয়াড দেখছিলাম আমি। হ্যাঁ, ওয়ালিউল বেস্ট সাব জুনিয়র। আর হচ্ছে জুনিয়রের মধ্যে সাদ। আমরা একসাথে জুনিয়র খেলতে গেছিলাম, তাই আমি জানি যে সাদ জুনিয়র।
রাইট বিউটিফুল
আর ওপেনে তো
ওপেন বলিস না আমরা ওপেনটা একটু লুকায় রাখছি
ও আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, ওকে।
all right I think all four of us have gone yes Rafi ভাই গেছো
না, রাফি ভাই
No.
বলে
oh
নাই।
sorry you're up
I guess মানে juniors or sub juniors are like the one that's gonna carry the sports like next 5 to 10 years. ওরা হচ্ছে will rise to the top and probably go above and beyond from like what we have done so far. So junior sub juniors দের ভেতরে obviously like I'm not gonna repeat what you guys said. Waliul is a fantastic sub junior. He's a very well-rounded lifter. Like tinta lifty bhalo, and that's I think one of the things that you have to like if you wanna be a good power lifter in the next 3 to 5 years, you have to focus on all three lifts, and that's very difficult. Like sometimes focusing on one lift will just eat away some of your other lifts because you only have limited recovery potential. So that's something to think about. Um, sub juniors দের ভেতরে obviously big shout out to Shubho. Like he has a massive 201 kg squat, and ছেলেটা কত লম্বা এবং long femurs, and he squats like squatting for I understand like squatting for him is difficult, but he still manages to like a national record squat. পিচ্চি ছেলে বেঞ্চে বেঞ্চে আমাদের একটা জিনিস মাথায় রাখা উচিত যে 2.5 kilo jumps are an options যেটা আমরা ইউটিলাইজ করি না like for some people 2.5 kilo is a legit 3 to 5% jump that আমাদের হচ্ছে ইউটিলাইজ করা উচিত but he has a massive deadlift 252. I think he ended up actually deadlifting I think 250, but
right.
regardless 252 is a massive deadlift. I think he still had quite a bit more, and he had the balls to load up the national record. So big shout out to him. But Volure is the best sub junior of 2025. Juniors দের ভেতরে there's a lot of people that comes to my mind. সোহানের কথা বলতে চাই যে সোহান হচ্ছে last year I think squat করছিল 175. So he took his squat from 175 to 205 within like few months because ওর সাথে I don't think we worked a full year. কয়েকটা I think 5 থেকে 6 মাসের মতো. But that's insane progress. এবং he's a very calm lifter. He's a calm and collected lifter. He doesn't like get in his head like Michelle said. এবং ও আমাকে একটা জিনিস বলছিল যে গত বছর I think ও জিতে নাই, তো যখন রাস্তা দিয়ে ফেরত যেতেছিল রিক্সা করে like his heart was heavy. And আমাকে বলছে যে ভাই I don't want to feel this feeling again. তো like আমরা বলছি যে like okay let's work so we make sure যে এটা কখনো না হয়, right? And that actually happened. So that's why I'm like super duper happy for him. But obviously we have fantastic juniors coming up. Obviously big shout out to Nazmul, lifts under KOD. He's a very good all-rounded lifter. Good squat, good bench, very good bench, very good deadlift as well. So he's something to look out to for the next upcoming few years. But the best juniors is no, I want to say Sami is the second best junior because Saad exists. Like sometimes we forget, like Michelle Jeta Bolo, he's so above and beyond every other junior. Like people think that he's in open, but he's only 21. So obviously Saad is the best junior, but second best is Sami. He's also very well-rounded lifter. Squat bhalo, bench bhalo, deadlift bhalo. So that's what makes a good power lifter in general. So yeah, those are my top juniors and sub juniors.
Awesome. Should we just go and go ahead and like also start naming open? তাহলে let's just go in around. Yeah?
Yeah,
All right.
let's get to it, man. Start করো তোমরা।
Okay, Tulona, ball. Open lifter. Best open lifter.
এবারে নাচছে তো এপি ভাইয়া।
Yeah, she's so cute. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
adorable. আর কিছু বলতে চাইস?
না।
না, এপি ভাইকে পছন্দ না আমারও। আচ্ছা, তাহলে নেক্সট কে যাবে এটা বল।
আমি বলি। তো আমাদের গত বছরের স্টোরি লাইনটা ছিল যে এপি হ্যাজ বিন দ্য বেস্ট ফর ফর as long as I can remember, সেই 2018 সাল থেকে he's been the reigning best powerlifter forever. তো গত বছর he didn't have the best day, and Saad took the cake. গত বছরের best lifter, and Saad had a fantastic day. So just to see him come back this year, with all the added responsibility added on top, like আমরা ধরো একটা জিনিস হচ্ছে যে আমরা যখন জুনিয়র সাব জুনিয়র থাকি, our life doesn't have a whole lot of responsibilities, but when we are crossing that junior threshold, তখন কিন্তু a lot of life stuff comes in, and managing powerlifting alongside life gets difficult, right? So um, and on top of that, like people who are doing that well, big shout out to them. But the best powerlifter, obviously Aditya, like I couldn't be more happier for him. Like Aditya has a big squat, big bench, and a phenomenal deadlift. So, and he put together the day that he needed to win best lifter. Like he didn't make aggressive calls, and make many mistakes. Like Saad probably had, he could have made, if he had made right calls. Let's say ও হচ্ছে স্কোয়াটে ধরো আরো 5 কেজি বেশি করতো, বেঞ্চে যদি আরো 2.5 কেজি বেশি করতো, he still had a shot, right? But that goes to show যে attempt selection, at these competitive stages is that much more important than people realize it to be. So yeah,
Absolutely.
my best powerlifter for 2025 is Aditya.
Who do you want to go next?
Acha, I would like to add a few things.
Mhm.
Like like I want to talk about the top 10. Like কিছু মানুষরা অনেক ভালো সিগনিফিকেন্ট প্রগ্রেস করছে, যাদের আইপিএফ জিএলও লাইক সিগনিফিকেন্টলি ভালো হয়েছে, and I think one of them would be যে মঞ্জুরুল. I think he has made really good progress in the past year,
Mhm.
and like he's been pulling 250-ish, squatting 4 reps, so, and like benchও like ভালোই কিন্তু well rounded হয়েছে ও. So I
Absolutely.
think his name needs to be mentioned.
Mhm.
Yeah, like yeah, Rafi bhai যেটা বললো, yeah, life has not been getting any easier, ওই বয়স নেই আর, people start cracking the old jokes and whatnot, ঠিক আছে? So
On stage.
yeah, man. So, I don't take it in a bad way. It's all good, fun and games. But yeah, life is definitely getting a lot more real, more responsibilities and this and that. So, like I said in my post, like just getting to go to the gym 3 days a week, I could not ask for more. Like that is everything to me at this point. যেতে পারতেছি 3টা দিন. So yeah, like that is not the most optimal thing to do. Like even I spoke to my coach, he's like, yeah, that's not it. But given everything, that's the best we can do. So yeah, like I'm just gonna refine, and like Ojay, like if I just want to talk about my squad, because like I'm really not happy with how it was. But this year I played like extremely conservative, because the squad was not something I pushed number wise, because I've been really working on my depth and whatnot, because my hips have been like my biggest challenge when it comes to depth. Like ever since I shifted to low bar, my hips started acting up. যেমন আগে যেমন my depth was like really ATG kind of shit. ঠিক আছে, but that was high bar days. But when I
Right.
shifted to my new coach, like he's like, no, you cannot do low bar, you cannot bench close grip. Like these were the things I needed to hear, so they were like a big game changer for me. So but yeah, like I really want to like push squats, and even this year if I wanted to be more aggressive I could have, but
Mhm.
I kept my cool. I really did. But at least something close to 250 was definitely there, because I did squat like 250 last year, which got red lighted for an inch or two. But yeah, that's not the point. But yeah, OT. But yeah, something I really want to work on is like my squat and my bench. Yeah, like really get some decent numbers there. Something close to 5 reds and 3 reds would be really nice. Yeah,
Let's hear it. Let's see that happen. I would love to see that happen.
yeah,
Speaking of subtotals, obviously the best powerlifter of 2025 should go to me, right? I'm just kidding. Fully kidding. Sorry. Um,
yeah.
see, on the day I wore the AP Lift shirt, like Shokalabella, I was wearing the Team Coyote shirt. I love supporting all my boys. I love all of these lifters to death, right? And so much respect for them. But I was wearing the AP Lift shirt during the Open for one reason only. And আমি তো ওকে প্যারা দিচ্ছি, right? Like ও কিন্তু ওয়ার্ম আপ করতেছে, আদিত্য ওয়ার্ম আপ করতেছে ওয়ার্ম আপ জোনে, and আমি ওকে যে একটু পর খোঁচাচ্ছি যে ব্রো আমার টি-শার্ট কই, আমার টি-শার্ট কই, and he's like bro আসতেছে, I swear আসতেছে, like নিয়ে আসতেছে একজন. And eventually it gets there. He gave me a shirt that's way too large. I think that's his way of indirectly calling me small. That's like shots fired, and I hear it. But আমার কাছে, look, the reason I wore that shirt, it's twofold, right? One, I love to see the Ultimate Champion change every year. That's what I would love to see, right? Like next year, obviously I'm Yepika Harachi. That goes without saying, right? But again, jokes aside, here's the way I saw it, right? It wasn't just about seeing a change of face. It also absolutely has to do with what Rafi Bhai just said. Jay Saad probably could have won with better attempt selection. And so the way I saw it before we even got to the meet, AP was the underdog, right? Saad had to defend his throne. He was the king at the top. AP was number two. It was his job to climb back up, right? He had to eat his way up. He had to work his way up, however you want to see it. He had to hunt his way up, right? AP was absolutely the underdog in my eyes. And look, again, like AP put it, ছেলেটা হচ্ছে obviously অনেক safe attempts নিছে, especially on squat. Deadlifted also, there was at least 12 and a half, 15 kilos left. So he probably had 20 plus kilos on the total. Like he probably could have hit 735 for a total at 97 kilos, right? That would have been a formidable like IPF GLP and everything. But in my eyes, like this man was the underdog, and I love seeing an underdog win, right? So মানে ওই দিক থেকে যদি আমরা চিন্তা করি, like I can't really think of anyone more deserving as well. That like a Chilita, just like we speak of Roton Bhai, like he had so many setbacks and all that nonsense, right? Like he had a freaking accident 3 weeks out, 3.5 weeks out. এরপরে খেলবে হ্যাঁ, রাফি ভাই, if I'm being very honest, like আমরা সবাই ফার্মের মুরগি, okay? Like আমরা কেউ এত ডেডিকেটেড না, এত বেশি তেল নাই যে আমরা যে 3 সপ্তাহ আগে পায়ে 8টা স্টিচ লাগছে, আমরা যে তাও 243 কেজি স্কোয়াট করে আসবো, and we're just not gonna give a shit. Right? He does not care about long-term implications. He just went and did it anyway. And I think AP did the same thing. When life got hard, this man said, like, I am not quitting. Like, even if I can lift just 3 days a week. Like, imagine lifting 3 days a week, Pat. Rafi, Pat, you and I lift 4 or 5 days a week, right? We know how much difference that fourth bench session makes, for example, right? Or being able to split the 3 sessions into four allows us to get more quality workload in, more quality volume in. AP did not have that opportunity. উত্তরাতে আসে, আমার রাস্তার উল্টা পাশে আসে, 6 days a week এখানে এসে বসে, and he runs that store himself, right? And he has to stay there 11 hours a day, maybe sometimes more. That's insane to me, right? Like there are very few people that can work as much as this man does and still be one of the top five lifters, if not the very best lifter in Bangladesh. And so goes without saying, AP takes the male side of best lifter of 2025, but Tulona, of course, right? Like Tulona, it has been Wonder Woman last year. She's going to be Wonder Woman this year, and she's going to be Wonder Woman next year as well. I'm just going to call it the way I see it. Like it goes, and look at her, right? Like she's smog act the confidence. She just knows, right? Jill, like she's gonna be that girl. Like she's literally her, right? She's the queen of powerlifting of Bangladesh. She's our Agata Shitko, and shout out to the both of them for paving standards. Like আমাদের আস্তে আস্তে every year we get to see the GLP, like all-time GLP Jedi, right? The all-time best female lifter is once again Tulona. All-time best male lifter is once again Aditya Parvis. And I love seeing that happen. So shout out to the both of them. And thank you guys for joining us. And thank you guys for pushing the standards every single year. All right. AP touched on this slightly. মঞ্জুরুলকে নিয়ে একটু কথা বলছো, bro.
Yeah.
But I want to ask, I want to jump right to the next question, and that's who do you guys think is the best breakout star, like most deserving of a breakout star title, or like quote unquote the most improved lifter of the year of the year 2025. So I can go first, just to kind of set the pace. Like I think overall, like best improved lifter যখন চিন্তা করি, I'm gonna go between two people, right? একজন হচ্ছে আলসামি আর একজন হচ্ছে মঞ্জুরুল। And I think these two made মানে unbelievable improvements, right? And significant strides. Look, and if I'm being very honest, Abdullah deserves a shout out in there as well. And only one of these boys is in the open. The other two are in the juniors, which is kind of crazy. And it makes sense. Juniors are going to progress faster. I think Jay Mane, given actual meet day performances, I have to give it to Alsami. Alsami ended up throwing up a little bit, which is why he could not make his third deadlift. Like, or it just he got all gassy and nauseous, and he wasn't feeling himself very well. But I saw like he loaded 242.5 and did not even take it, right? Akib Darayase, and I'm watching him go like, I don't care if you throw up, just give it a shot. Give it everything you have. Pull, you have 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7. And Sami just could not like muster up the ability actually, right? Because he just felt like throwing up. Like Buker ekhane gas atkay ase, and তখন you can't really deadlift from that point, right? But Sami went backstage 5 minutes later, took 2.5 more than he actually attempted for his third, and pulled 245 at night.
Great for you. Yeah.
That's crazy to me. Right?
Mhm.
Like Sami won on the day by 1 GLP, right? Over the next best junior lifter. Sami probably would have won by like 6 GLP, right? If we're being realistic. Like if he gets his next deadlift and everything, or at least 3 GLP beta Jayor, that would have been amazing to see, right? Because if Sami has a 9 for 9 day, he's a formidable opponent, right? Like next year, Sami could actually be a significant threat in the open 74s. Because I know Saad's going to be moving up. Sure, I sure as shit hope to God, Jay, like Saad moves up because clearly he does not belong in the 74s. He's too damn tall. Should be an 83, if not a 93 in the long term. Sami's a real threat in the 74s to Monjurul, to Sultan Nasrullah once he moves up to the open, and maybe even Waliul, right? Like Waliul might be like gunning for it all next year. So who knows how that really goes? But Tassin and I will be making a comeback, so that should be interesting. But yeah, I would say Jay, my most improved lifter, in my opinion, goes to Alsami because I did not see that coming. Jay, 217.5 squat, Corbe. This boy ended up having a higher junior squat than Saad. What the hell? Saad squatted 210. Sami squatted 217. And Sami probably on the day, right? This is a real hot take, and I probably will get some flack for it. I think Sami probably had another like 4 or 5 kilos in him.
Yeah,
Like,
probably did actually. His last attempt did not really look like an all-out lift.
and I'm so mad at Akib for this, right? Like the national record was set by Saad last year at 217.5. Or I think earlier this year in July, like he ended up squatting 217.5 as a junior 74 back in Himeji, Japan. I think Sami, all he needed to do was load point 0.5 more and he had a national record squat in him, right? But he didn't do that. So again, I mean, Akib already boka this year, and I think they should have loaded more. But again, realistically, I think neck and neck with Saad on the day on squats. Like Saad is the best junior lifter, bar none. That's really freaking impressive. I did not see that coming. And again, his bench, deadlift, everything is just making strides. I think Sami, like AP put it, like he's a hot-blooded young man, right? Like অনেক রাগ করে লিফট করে বাথরুমে আসছে after he finished his squats এসে just আমাদের দিকে তাকাচ্ছে আমাকে আমি Arman or somebody else was there. He walks in and just goes, "Hello, weak people." And we're flabbergasted, like, কি বলেছে এটা? Like, মানে কারে কি কস বেটা তুই? মানে, but it's like, but I love that, right? Like the sheer audacity, like he compares himself to the very best. And you'll see the same in Saad, right? Like Saad 19 বছর বয়স থেকে একই জিনিসটা বিশ্বাস করতো নিজের মধ্যে। তুলনাও কিন্তু same. Tulona is like, I don't care who's in my way. Like you bring Tanisha, you bring Maisha, you bring some of the best female lifters that are going head to head against me. I don't care if I'm younger than them. I will destroy everybody that's in my way, right? And the same as can be said of the junior boys, especially the 7483s. Like they're very feisty, but love to see the progress Sami has made. Definitely my most improved lifter of 2025. And just before I finish, quick special shout out to Imran Bhai. Made an insane amount of progress under Arman. So shout out to that entire team, right? Both Arman and Imran Bhai together phenomenal progress. Like really, really inspiring to watch. Like Imran Bhai একটা gym চালায় out in the middle of nowhere, তার কোনো spotter নাই, loader নাই, কিছুই নাই. No one even helps like spot him when he's actually about to squat an all-time PR, and he still does what he does. So that's really fantastic to see as well. All right, I'm gonna point next to Tulona. Tulona, your opinion, who's the most improved lifter of 2025, and why is it me?
আমার ভাইয়া।
Beautiful. I love that. This Sabit Bhai was definitely not a paid actor in this, and Sabit Bhai had no influence on her answer at all. He definitely did not text her the right answer while she was answering this. All right. Tulona Kakatesh, next যাবে রাফি ভাই নাকি এবি?
রাফি ভাইয়া।
রাফি ভাই।
ও ঘুমে
All right.
একদম শেষ।
Conversation.
About bedtime, past her
I
bedtime.
promise আর দুইটা বাকি এরপর।
Okay, like যখন আমি ব্রেকআউট স্টারের কথা চিন্তা করতেছি তখন আমি ভাবতেছি যে like I've never heard of someone and he's like appeared out of nowhere and made miles and miles of progress.
Yeah.
So যখন আমি এরকম কারো কথা চিন্তা করি obviously অনেকগুলো লিফটার্স আছে. So one of my lifters is Shohan as well. Like he was not as strong and he made a lot of improvements to all of his lifts. Abdullah is like a phenomenal talent. Like he's just an all-out strong 83. কিন্তু I think আমার চোখে পড়ছে হচ্ছে 74 এর নাজমুল ছেলেটা, right? Because আমি সামির কথা বলতেছি না because we saw him last year and he was very good last year and he
Yeah.
made improvement from that. But Nazmul wasn't. I don't think he was competing last year. So he just
একদম
came in
নিউ।
একদমই new. এবছর আসছে, big squat, huge bench, big deadlift, like an all round lifter. So আমার মতে the breakout star for the year 2025, like যার presence ছিল না গত বছর, and he's like kind of like in a contender for one of the best 74s, goes to Nazmul.
Bro, আমি কিন্তু আব্দুল্লাহকেও চিনতাম না last year. That's kind of crazy. I can't believe আমি একজনের নাম বলি নাই. Like, I want to do take backs. All right, AP, you're up, bro.
I think, I kind of covered it a bit too early. So, Jay, I think I'm gonna,
Bonjour.
the only other person I can mention after Monjul would be যে রাফি ভাই's athlete যে সোহান, because ও অনেক ভালো significant progress করছে, which was noticeable on the platform actually. So we all were surprised, and like which shows how much more he has to offer. So I'm definitely really curious to see what he puts up in the coming year, 2026. Yeah.
Same. Rafi ভাই, next question জিজ্ঞেস করে ফেলো।
Next হচ্ছে, what's one thing you change in 2025 powerlifting, whether that's the national level or internationally, if you could go back?
Who do you want to go first?
I'll start with Tulona.
আমার squat ভালো লাগে।
প্ল্যাটফর্ম। সবচেয়ে বেশি হচ্ছে গিয়ে বেঞ্চটা ভালো না, তারপর হচ্ছে গিয়ে প্ল্যাটফর্মও ভালো না, তারপর কি বলবো, আর স্পটার। স্পটার গুলোকে দেখলেই ভয় লাগে, মনে হয় যে যদি আমি মিস করি তাহলে আর শেষ, আমি শেষ।
তাহলে শেষ সব।
এমন লাগে।
ওটাই জীবনের
আর
লাস্ট।
আর হচ্ছে মানে ব্যাক স্টেজে, তারপর হচ্ছে যে প্লেয়ার জোনে একটা স্ক্রিন নাই, তারপরে লাইটের কোনো ইয়া নাই, আরো হচ্ছে ওই খালি স্কোর শিট দেখতে হলে আমার ফোনে দেখতে হয়, মানে কার পরে কে যাবে এটার জন্য যে একটা স্ক্রিন থাকবে এটাও নাই। বারবার বলতেছে যে দুইজনের পরে তুমি, দুইজনের পরে আমি, এমন। এটা তো অনেকটা মানে ওই সিচুয়েশনে তো এত কিছু মাথায় থাকে না।
That's right.
তারপর হচ্ছে গিয়ে লোডে ভুল করে, উল্টাপাল্টা লোড করে। যদি
আমাকে টাকা
এবার
দিতে
মিশেল ভাইয়া হচ্ছে গিয়ে অনেকটা দেখছিল, আমি হচ্ছে গিয়ে আমার লিফট শুরু হওয়ার আগেই ভাইয়াকে বলছিলাম ভাইয়া প্লিজ আমারটা একটু দেখো।
আমাকে টাকা দেওয়া উচিত।
কারণ আমার হচ্ছে গিয়ে ফার্স্ট মিট ছিল গার্ল পাওয়ার 24, তো ওইখানে আমি হচ্ছে গিয়ে ডিসকোয়ালিফাইড হয়েছিলাম, মানে বেঞ্চে বম্বড আউট হয়েছিলাম। এইটার জন্য মানে থার্ড অ্যাটেম্পটে আমাকে মিস লোড করছিল। এর জন্য আর কি। তো এইটা আমার জন্য অনেকটা ট্রমা
Yeah.
এই আর কি। আর ইন্টারন্যাশনালি আমি একটাই কম্পিট করছি, ওইটার সাথে যদি কম্পেয়ার করা হয় তাহলে তো আকাশ পাতাল অনেক কিছুই।
তোমার লাইক what significantly stands out to you? তুমি যে ইন্টারন্যাশনালি কম্পিট করেছো আবার ন্যাশনাল খেলাও দেখেছো, লাইক what do you think um, is the most significant difference that you see on an international stage versus a national stage?
টাইম।
Time.
ওইখানে যেইটা টাইম ওইটাই, আর এইখানে হচ্ছে গিয়ে ওয়েইনের পরে কতক্ষণ পরে শুরু হয় কোনো কিছু নাই ঠিক।
Yes. Yeah.
সকালে শুরু করছি, রাতে শেষ করছে লিফট।
এই আমার অ্যান্সার সিল করলে হবে না।
কি
All right.
কাকে চাইস? নেক্সট কে যাবে বল? তুই কি শেষ? শিওর? আর
হুম
বলতে
হুম
পারবি না? আমার বিশ্বাস হচ্ছে না, তোর আরো কয়েকটা বাকি মনে
হুম।
হচ্ছে।
না থাক, আজকে এই পর্যন্ত।
এই পর্যন্তই। আচ্ছা, এখানে
নেক্সট বার বলবো না আরো।
প্লিজ। আচ্ছা, নেক্সট কে যাবে বল?
এপি ভাইয়া।
ভাইয়া।
Okay, so না তুলনার কনসার্ন গুলা very real, very legitimate, but মানে since she's like very new, এটা আমি what I'm gonna say, I hope Rafi bhai can relate to this because from where we come from, ঠিক আছে, this is a very unbiased opinion, but we have come a long way. ঠিক আছে, so starting from doing out মানে without having a warm up zone, because you cannot even blame the organizers, they were new to this,
That's right.
they didn't even know. So like did their research, they learned over the years, they made their mistakes, and we're still learning, right?
That's right.
আর একটা জিনিস কি, like no matter where you go, ঠিক আছে, কোথাও পারফেক্ট হয় না কোনো কিছু। Yeah, this year, yeah, like সব একটা খুব চ্যালেঞ্জিং পার্ট ছিল যে স্ক্রিন না থাকাটা, which
Yeah.
was actually that made things significantly difficult. But yeah, like things are never perfect anywhere you go. Like all the YouTube vlogs I see of people just competing, they're not even popular part. They're just random people. Like Will Tennyson একটা আছে, him competing for the first time and shit.
Yep.
So, মানে you just have to brace for any kind of impact anywhere you go, even if you're in America or somewhere in the Middle East, ঠিক আছে, or Europe, doesn't really matter. যেমন এই যে তোমার সাথে যেটা হলো, you went for Asians and they, because they failed you big time, right? মানে just একটা জিনিসের জন্য মানে there was so much effort, like investment, not just money but also so much.
Time, energy, everything, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, so সবকিছু জাস্ট একটা টেকনিক্যাল এর জন্য, জাস্ট মিসইনফরমেশনের জন্য everything went to waste. So yeah, like this is like a message I want to convey to the, like everyone, to the generation, like the upcoming generation, যে like brace for the worst, ঠিক আছে, no matter where you go,
That's
ঠিক
right.
আছে, don't just because you're going to a like a
Mega
developed
meat.
country or
Right.
Asian or worlds, don't expect
Right.
things to go all right.
Right.
ঠিক আছে, so as a মানে Bryce Lewis, right? He's one of the
Of
GOATs.
course.
So
Yeah.
Bryce Lewis like way back in the day, he shared this thing like you can do everything right and still not get there.
Yep.
ঠিক আছে, shit can always happen, so you always gotta brace for the impact and
Mhm.
just keep a clear head, ঠিক আছে, যাই হোক না কেন, don't let it sway you, ঠিক আছে, just keep it cool and things will work out, ঠিক আছে, মানে today is just not the end, ঠিক আছে, it goes on every year. So আজকে না হলেও, like in the future, you can always get to prove your point and whatever message you want to give to the crowd. Yeah.
That's some solid advice. Like it's both practical and philosophical. Like, hey, look, you have to be resilient, but you have to be adaptable. Like all of this is really, really solid.
Right.
I think everyone needs to like. If we're gonna clip out one portion of this entire money session, like that needs to be it, right? Like a message from AP to all of BPA. Like this needs to be. And here's listen from the best lifter in the nation, right? Like this is what you need to actually talk about and be about. All right, I think I'm the only one left. I have such a long list of honorable
Me
mentions,
too.
but I'll try to keep this short. Oh, wait, তুমি বাকি. Sorry, so bad. I
No,
keep
you got
leaving you out of this. I would say the the first thing on my mind is I wish if I could go back and change one thing in the year of 2025 BPA Joto meets Holo as well as international meets. I wish I made weight. I wish I gave AP Saad, Tasin, Imran Bhai, Monjurul, Al Sami, right? I think those are the top six. Hopefully, I'm not mistaken about this. Yeah, Tiki will see. By GLP, those are the top six. I wish I gave these guys something to chase, right? Rafi Beck coached me through this entire prep for the last several months of my career, and I'm very grateful to you for that. I really wish we could have put together the 92 and a half, 93, whatever IPF points we were gunning for, made things interesting, right? Like I would have, once I become the best of all time, I get to go like ooga booga dooga, right? And I get to be like, all right, AP Saad, you're up. See if you can beat me, type shit. And we would have had a storyline there, but unfortunately, things did not pan out that way for multiple reasons. I've gone into details about this, so I'm not gonna again. But number two, one thing I would love to change, honorable mention. Saad should not have been a 74. Saad is the most, look, not just potentially, and if we're being very realistic, like Saad is probably the best lifter in all of Bangladesh, right? On the day, AP won, but with better attempt selection, with better anything. Again, like I said, AP was the underdog in that fight, in my opinion. I think Saad should not be a freaking 74. Twice he has competed as a 74, whereas 83 ticket, last year ticket, his total has regressed twice. That should not be the case. Your job in powerlifting when you're young, when you're freaking 21, কয়দিন আগে মাত্র 21 হয়েছে ছেলেটার বয়স, your job is to get as big and strong as possible. Think about cutting later in life. AP made his first cut probably like 5 to 7 years after competing, right? It takes a while. Build your freaking base. Saad is so strong, so promising. I think we're not doing him justice. Like, I don't know, Mane, what enables him or who enables him to do things like this, but he should not be a freaking 74. You have something to say, bro. Bolo, please.
Yeah, so I would just like to add to what you just said. I was really surprised to see Saad cut to 74.
What
Because
the
like
hell?
আমি যা দেখছি ও প্রত্যেকবার যতবারই করছে কাট করছে he has regretted that. ঠিক আছে, he performed so well last year. So it was actually quite shocking. So মানে he and by now he does have a pretty decent level of experience in powerlifting. Like
Yes.
competing and training and everything. ঠিক আছে. So considering everything, what happened this year was actually quite unfortunate. Like his, like the cut and the atom selection and whatnot. Because তুমি যেটা বলছো, ওর attempt selection ভালো হলে, he would have come very, close and like it would be a pretty
Very neck and
fight,
neck battle. And I would have loved to see that happen.
Exactly, that is what we all want, that
But
fight, give the crowd something to look forward to.
second deadlift জিতে গেছো এটা কারো পছন্দ হয় না. We want to see you
Yeah,
perform.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, but yeah, hopefully, he'll learn. He's a pretty, given his experience, I do expect more from him. That's all
Absolutely.
I can say.
That's exactly right. We hold Saad to a higher standard, and I will continue to do so because he is one of the best that we have and will probably end up being the long-term best that we have. And I cannot wait to see it actually be put together. Saad on a super meet day is going to be phenomenal, right? And that super meet is coming. That's the scariest part, right? We can all try and be best male lifter of all time to date, but when that super meet comes, like Saad is probably going to be a little bit closer to 100 GLP than the rest of us, and that's really scary to think of. Like Saad as an 83 is going to be unreal in 2026. I just want to say that like he could have been that in 2025, but I really hope we get to see that in 2026. All my best wishes for that young man. Um, on that note, final two mentions. Meet day, like the meet as much as look, both of you added a little bit of context, right? Like তুলনা বলছে যে মানে মিড ডেটা একদমই ভালো লাগে না, গত বছর খেলছেও এবং এই বছর খেলছে, এই দুইটাই মিট করছে বাংলাদেশে other than girl power, and ওর একদমই পছন্দ হয় না এই বছরটা। অবভিয়াসলি আমি যে মিট গুলাতে থাকি না ন্যাশনালসে, ওই মিট গুলাতে অবভিয়াসলি ভালো হবে না, and that goes without saying, right? I'm your lucky star, but jokes aside, like I think, and AP also touched on Jay, like we are a lot further away from where we began. আগে আউটডোর খেলা হইতো, রাতে মশার কামড় খাইতে খাইতে তোমরা কম্পিট করতা ঠান্ডার মধ্যে, and it was,
Seriously?
yeah, it was crazy. সত্যি সত্যি চিন্তা করতে পারবি না। Like আমি just ভিডিও দেখতাম আর হাসতাম আর কানতাম because আমি ওই USAPL এ কম্পিট করতাম, পাওয়ারলিফটিং আমেরিকাতে কম্পিট করতাম, and I was just watching and laughing যে আহারে আমার বাচ্চাগুলা কি বলে, আমার ভাইগুলা আমার কিসের মধ্যে খেলতেছে, crazy লাগে চিন্তা করলে। But on that note, bro, like I think the only thing we can strive for is improvement. Like AP said, improvement,
Absolutely.
what we should be proud of and strive towards, right? What I don't like is if we got to a level where we got to last year, we should not be regressing from there. Right? That's my only thing. Ebar কিন্তু we had more time. It was split across more days this year than it was last year. Right? And still আমাদের টাইমিং এ কিছু প্যারা হয়েছে. I remember I had to jump in and AP was it you as well volular squatter জন্য? I was like, bro, বসে পড়ো.
Probably, yeah.
Right? I think you sat on one end, I sat on one end. And মানে হ্যাঁ তুমি হচ্ছে ইয়েতে বসছো তুমি সেন্টারে বসছো আমি হচ্ছে সাইডে বসে আছি and I think maybe Imran Bhai was on the other side yeah if I
হ্যাঁ সেন্টার ছিল, yeah.
exactly and like that was crazy to me Jay like sure we're understaffed and all that like we have a lack of resources and that's the recurring story every year right but on that note Jay আমি যা দেখলাম bro জজেসরা উঠে যে জুরি কলের কাজ করতেছে. That should not be the case when you have only one squat left in the flight. That was poor time management in my opinion, right? Because আমরা কিন্তু পুরা সেশন শেষ হয়ে গেছে তারপরেও কিন্তু জুরি ওভারটার্ন হয়েছে বা জুরি কল আবার মানে আমরা রেসপন্স দিছি like 1 hour after the lift. So there's no need to do that in the moment. I thought that was a significant error. So it like again, Tulona has very valid points. AP has equally valid points. Amar চিন্তা হচ্ছে we should not regress from where we have been, right? What we can control is trying to improve bit by bit on where we used to be, and we should not be regressing. The same complaints I have about Saad, I have about our operations, right? We should be a little bit better prepared. And then equipment নিয়ে তো কথা শেষ করতে পারবো না, right? Like timing should be better, right? And time management should be better. We should not be suddenly putting out a 1 hour long break between squats and bench, which I think happened on the day of the juniors. Yeah, if I remember correctly, the second day. হঠাৎ করে একটা 1 ঘন্টার lunch break দিয়ে দিছি. We should have announced that, right? Take the lunch break, but announce it. That's important. Screen ছিল না, big mistake, right? Like এটার কারণে I had to walk up to AP and literally be like, bro, like, because I'm rooting for the underdog again, right? Like, and I'm like, bro, তোমার কি কোনো math করে দিতে হবে? If you need help, let me know. Like, I have the IPF GLP formula like website up, like open on my phone. So like, তুমি dots দেখতে চাও, GLP দেখতে চাও, Wilks দেখতে চাও, I got it ready. Just let me know, right? And he's like, bro, I got it covered, but তুমিও তোমার এন্ডে করে নাও. And it's because like আমরা কেউ জানি না. We have to go to the scorekeeper's table and peek over their like shoulders just to see যে কে কত লিফট করছে. Right? তুলনার জন্য এত চিন্তা নাই because ওর কোনো তুলনা হয় না, right? But
Yeah.
I'm so proud of myself for that pun. But মানে the rest of us, it's a close fight on the men's side, and that's not great. যে like গত বছর স্ক্রিন ছিল এই বছর নাই. So that's important that we do better in terms of at least not regressing from where we were last year. Right? যা ছিল গত বছর, we can absolutely at least repeat that. We can at least maintain. We don't have to improve. We can at least maintain. Right? Final problem I have with like equipment in যত complaint করলাম আমরা. Final complaint I have is carpeting. It's high time. Like ৮ বছর হয়েছে ৮টা ন্যাশনালস খেলছে এপি টানা. We need to have a carpet, right? Like এই
হুম।
ম্যাট এক একটা নড়ে লাইক বেঞ্চ করতে যাচ্ছি আমরা হঠাৎ করে ম্যাট গুলা সামনের দিকে স্লিপ করে চলে গেল ডেডলিফট করার জন্য স্পটারদের পা রাখতে হচ্ছে যেন মানে সুমো ডেডলিফটে ম্যাট গুলা সরে না যায়. I don't love that. That's not the standard. I also want to complain a little bit about like loading and spotting and loading. We should be loading weights better. We should not be 25 কেজির বদলে একটা 20 একটা 5 লাগানো যাবে না. Right? That's just not acceptable. যখন আমরা একটা ন্যাশনাল রেকর্ড লোড করতেছি সাদের জন্য যদি আমরা লাল 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 হলুদ সবুজ লাগাই দেই for his 275 deadlift, that looks horrible, right? That you can't do that. You have to put 5 reds on. And I force their hands on certain lifts, right? But সবগুলোতে করতে পারি না because the spotters and loaders themselves are tired and they're new at this. They're not efficient about it. But I think, yeah, something I want to change definitely is like, Ami J, I want to lead a pack of spotters and loaders, whether at a local or national meet, I don't care. But I want to set that standard moving forward. This is the pace at which you work quickly, right? You are vigilant, you look alive, you work hard. These are the things you need to do if you want to be spotting and loading because that's arguably the hardest task of the day, right? Judging is probably a lot easier than spotting and loading nonstop for 8 hours. It's not easy. And I've done this before. Ever competed. I was spotting and loading at several meets before I ever competed. So I know that this is hard. So I just want to bring that standard up. But অনেক পরে করলাম. There's one thing I could change in 2025 powerlifting across all of BP, across all of Bangladesh. Max burn would not close. That breaks my heart. Max burner benchটাতে AP would bench 170. I would bench 145. Tulona would bench 85. Rafi Bhai would bench 150. Max Burner bench. Like, I'm so freaking sad. সব নিয়ে যা। সব নিয়ে যা। বেঞ্চটা দিতি। নিচতলায় রুসলানসের ধানমন্ডি ব্রাঞ্চটা। I would have
Where is it?
loved
Where
for
is
them
it?
to
If
buy
it's
that
only
up.
Max Burn, I'm gonna try and contact them and just get the bench.
Please, bro. Like, it would change the game. Like, বাংলাদেশের সবার বেঞ্চ খালি নিচের দিকে আসছে. Like, apart from yourself, right? But like, almost like the general trend has been benchটা কিন্তু regress করছে অনেকের. And that should not be the case because we just don't have access to good equipment. So that's my answer is Max Burn would have never closed if I could change one thing.
Yeah. Like, considering আমাদের powerlifting resources এত limited, এই জিমটা আমাদের ভালোই হেল্প করছে, but
Will help
yeah,
boost.
now we're just down to, our OG metal cave.
Yeah. We have
Yes.
so many memories at Max Burn, right? Like 500 টাকা দিয়ে ঢুকতাম, ফাইজলামি করতাম, বান্দরামি করতাম, 6 ঘন্টা পর জিম থেকে বের হইতাম. It was so fun. Like we got to know so many of each other, so much of each other through Max Burn. Like I have so many memories there. So it's quite sad that we had to
Yes.
name
Yeah.
that loss.
Right?
রাফি
Let me go
ভাই,
next.
Yeah, Bhaiya.
So yeah, I mean, এপির কথার উপর যেটা বলতে চাই যে like yeah, we have to first be grateful যে we have made a lot of improvements and the sports is like tangibly growing. Like আমাদের sportsটা like quantifiably is actually growing. We're seeing better lifters. So with that comes better responsibility from us as the organizers, people who love the sports. Yeah, আমরা better performances দেখতে চাই. Better performances দেখতে হলে we have to make sure যে we're giving them the best equipment. So যে মিশেল যেটা বললো যে কার্পেট নাই. So Arman, arguably he had one of the biggest squad of the nation. এবং ওর পা পিছলা গেছে একটা ম্যাক্সিমাল অ্যাটেম্প কাঁধে থাকলে পা পিছলা গেলে that could lead to an injury, right? Because adductor ছিঁড়ে যায় because like that could happen, right? So এই জিনিসগুলো আমাদেরকে মেক শিওর করতে হবে যে at least একটা বেটার প্ল্যাটফর্ম যে কি লাগে 2টা 8 ফুট বাই 8 ফুটের প্লাইউড লাগে তারপর তার উপর একটা কার্পেট বসায় দিব দ্যাটস ইট লাইক আমি এখানে লোকাল মিটস গুলোতে কম্পিট করি লোকাল মিটস গুলোতে এভরি টাইম ইউ কম্পিট দে আর অ্যারেঞ্জিং নিউ প্ল্যাটফর্মস বিকজ কিছুই না জাস্ট 2টা বোর্ড স্ক্রু দিয়ে লাগাচ্ছে পেরেক দিয়ে লাগাচ্ছে তার উপর কার্পেট বসায় দিচ্ছে দ্যাটস ইট
That's right.
ফেয়ারলি সিম্পল ফেয়ারলি চিপ আই থিঙ্ক আমাদের ন্যাশনালস এর বাজেটে এই জিনিসটা আমরা রাখতে পারি আর একটা ব্যাপার হচ্ছে যে আমি তো দূর থেকে খেলা দেখছি রাইট তো তোমরা তো ফিজিক্যালি ওখানে ছিলা তো
Right.
when I was watching it live like most of the live stream কোনো commentary ছিল না so it's just very
হ্যাঁ,
hard to pay
yeah,
attention to
yeah.
what was going on and whatnot so that is one thing that's very easy to fix and it just increase the viewer experience like by that much like অনেক বেশি ইমপ্রুভ করে আর কি যে দেখতে তুমি খেলাটা এঙ্গেজিং রাখা কি হচ্ছে না হচ্ছে স্টোরিগুলো বলা আর তোমরা যেটা বলতেছিলা যে স্ক্রিন নাই পেছনে রাইট সো কমেন্টেটর থাকলে সে বলতে পারতো যে না ওকে this guy is pulling for the win this guy is pulling for the ultimate championship whatever like that makes the sports like the viewing experience that much better obviously আমার পার্সোনাল একটা কমপ্লেন এবং তোমরা সবাই যেটা বলছো যে ধরো um, we are part of IPF. IPF is
Yes.
a separate federation that has 2-hour weigh-in,
That's
right?
right.
I've never seen a 2-hour weigh-in competition in Bangladesh, right? So আমার জন্য যেটা হয় যে like for me to personally compare my performance to all of you guys, it just becomes blurry because আমি exactly 2 ঘন্টা সময় পাচ্ছি প্ল্যাটফর্মে যাওয়ার জন্য versus somebody who's doing a hero cut তারপর সে 5 ঘন্টা 6 ঘন্টা পাচ্ছে to recomp, right? So obviously like that's just hard to compare those performances যে ওই লিফটারটাও যদি 2 ঘন্টা সময় পাইতো তাহলে ওর পারফরমেন্স কেমন হতো right so that is something I think it's fairly easy to manage যে ধরো মানে ওয়ে ইন করার জন্য একজন থাকবে এবং প্ল্যাটফর্মে যখন যাবে অ্যাটলিস্ট এতদিন ধরে আমরা করতেছি 2018 সাল থেকে অ্যাটলিস্ট এই জিনিসটা আমাদেরকে করা উচিত এবং আমরা যখন ইন্টারন্যাশনালি লিফটার্স পাঠাই এবং the people who are cutting weight do see a dip in their performance because of their cut এবং যারা এই বিপিসিতেও যারা অনেক অনেক লিফটারদের আমি মিট রিক্যাপ করতেছি and some people are saying I weighed in at 89 and I cut down to the 83s I weighed in at 78 I cut down to the 74s obviously that's going to have a impact on your performance imagine করো তুমি যদি ওই কাট করতে এবং তোমার হাতে 2 ঘন্টা সময় থাকতো to recomp like your performance would be, would be getting a dip even more than what it had, right? So, and it also আমার personal complaint যে ধরো, I do think I am one of the best lifters from Bangladesh, but it's just very hard for me to compare myself to other because সবার ধরো 2 ঘন্টার weigh in হয় না, right? Equipment, and I do think যে ধরো আমরা রেগুলার বেসিসে, I do appreciate যে আমরা রেগুলার বেসিসে internationally lifters পাঠাচ্ছি and people are winning medals. That's amazing to see, right? And I only want to see more of it. So yeah, equipment, better time management, commentary. Those are my top 3 things that I
That's
would
so
like to see.
freaking valid. Before we move on to the last question, I just want to add, like, we're lazy as hell in Bangladeshi powerlifting. Like, if I'm being very honest, some of our best lifters জিমের মধ্যে যে 5-7 ঘন্টা সময় কাটায়, দেখো লাইক তুলনা কিন্তু অন্যদিকে তাকায় আছে লজ্জায়, ও যে হচ্ছে অনেক সময় ফাইজলামি করে করে লিফট করে, লাইক সামটাইমস শি
না,
ইজ, ও অনেক সময় ঠিকই মানে 1 ঘন্টার মধ্যে শেষ করে ফেলে সবকিছু, যে নিচে এক্সেসরিজ করে, কিপস হার হেডফোনস অন এন্ড লাইক কারোর দিকে তাকায় না। বাট অনেক সময় দেখছি যে, এন্ড তুলনা's not মানে আমি সিঙ্গল আউট করতে, I don't mean to single her out, but like I'll bring out an example. Maisha was not ready for her squat opener because she takes so long to warm up in the gym. Maisha and Tulona were supposed to have the most exciting head-to-head battle that we've ever seen amongst the women. Pailamina. Keno, she was not even ready for her squat opener. And she ends up bombing out because of poor attempt selection. And straight up just like, I don't know, like she was not a good power lifter on the day. She's really strong, right? And she's supposed to give Tulana a run for her money and everything. But I'm gonna dictate by night because like one, we're lazy, and two, like we're just so used to like আড়াই ঘন্টা সময়, 2 ঘন্টা সময়, 3 ঘন্টা সময় after the weigh-ins have closed off. Whereas weigh-ins close হওয়ার আধা ঘন্টার মধ্যে লিফটিং শুরু হয়।
আমি একটা জিনিস ব্র্যাক করবো, সেটা হচ্ছে like the 650 that I did in training, ওই সেশনটা was I think 2 hours and 45 minutes with all the back downs. So all of my SBD sessions are like around 2.5 hours because
Insane.
I have work, I have a kid, I have a family,
Right.
I coach powerlifting,
Right.
all
Yeah.
these other things as well,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But
People
I
would
have
break.
to spend.
People would, I promise you, 99.9% of BPA would break with half your externals. They have no work capacity when there is no comparison তোমার সাথে, right? Um, মানে তুমি যদি বাংলাদেশে এসে 1 বছর জাস্ট বাপের টাকায় হোটেলে বসে বসে খেয়ে দে, কোনো চাকরি করতেছো না, তাও আবার 9 আওয়ার আউট ওয়েন করবা, 74 এ খেলবা, তুমি যদি 670 কেজি টোটাল করো নেক্সট ডিসেম্বরে, who's going to compete against you? There's nobody, right?
Right.
So again, like yes, absolutely. Like, but like one thing you mentioned, your commentary ব্যাপারে. I was supposed to commentate, or at least that was the plan, but unfortunately, I was pulled in like 7 different directions just to help out with operations. Kind of keep everyone in line as well, to be honest. Like a lot of people were going out here and there before, like when they weren't supposed to be outside, they were supposed to be inside. So I'm not gonna name names, but like we simply needed to actually be more put together. Commentary is a big thing when it comes to viewership, right? যারা অনলাইন দেখে আমাদের কিন্তু প্রোডাকশন লেভেলটা প্রতি বছর বাড়াইতে হবে আস্তে আস্তে করলে, right? Because that it's the production level in the media that brings in the hype and viewership, and then eventually big brands will sponsor. দেখো, golf is a boring ass sport, right? গলফকে প্রাণ তীর এরা কিন্তু বেস্ট গলফার গুলাকে স্পন্সর করতেছে। Imagine Nestle or Pran comes and sponsors, or freaking even, I mean, AP would love this specifically, like British American Tobacco এসে হঠাৎ করে ওকে যদি কালকে স্পন্সর করতে চায়, right? He would love that. ওকে টাকা দিচ্ছে, বিড়ি দিচ্ছে, whatever. Like that would be fantastic. And like we don't get to do that because some of their production levels are just not where they need to be. And a big part of that, like viewership এর মধ্যে আমরা যদি চিন্তা করি, the reason we love IPF Worlds, I promise you, half the reason we love IPF Worlds is Six Pack Lapidat. It's Ryan Lapidat. He changes the game, the entire game. The whole experience is improved 5x because of the way he speaks about it. And I wanted to do that so bad, right? But unfortunately, Jokon, if you have any sort of lapse, right, any gap at all in commentary, people lose all interest. Then it's like কোনো অডিও ছাড়া জাস্ট দেখতেছি যে একজন আসতেছে,
So hard to follow.
স্কোয়াট
Like আমি একটা
প্লিজ বলো।
like we shouldn't be like regressing from what we've built.
That's right.
গত বছর যেটা ছিল তার থেকে ইমপ্রুভ করতে হবে বা অ্যাটলিস্ট সেম লেভেলে থাকতে
At
হবে।
least same রাখতে হবে। That's exactly right.
গত বছর যেদিন খেলা তোমাদের মানে বিপিসি ছিল তার পরের দিন হচ্ছে আই ওয়াজ কম্পিটিং, রাইট? সো আই ওয়াজ অন মাই ওয়ে ড্রাইভিং। তো আমি হচ্ছে ফোনে, আমি তো জ্বালাচ্ছিলাম গাড়ি। তো আমি হচ্ছে ফোনে শুনতে শুনতে যাচ্ছিলাম, আফ্রিদ কমেন্টারি করতেছিল, and I was able to follow through the entire game without even watching, right? And that was an amazing experience, যে ধরো মানে আমি না দেখে ফলো করতে পারতেছি। And I wish this was the case this year too, যে এই বছর যদি মানে পুরো গেমটা ফলো করতে পারতাম, তাহলে I think the viewing experience would be that much better.
Absolutely. Like it changes the game, right? Like একজন স্কোয়াড ফেল করলো, রাইট? বারটা ফেলে দিল ঠাস করে ব্যাক থেকে, এন্ড মানুষ জাস্ট মানে অনলাইন তাকায় আছে যে স্পটার গুলো আস্তে আস্তে করে একটা করে প্লেট খুলতেছে, তারপর হাইয়ো মারো টান বলে উঠাইলো একটা উপরে, and it's just completely quiet. What are we watching? None of us know. Just তাকায় আছি আমরা যে it's boring as hell. ওই 10 মিনিটের জন্য টেস্ট ক্রিকেট দেখতেছি আমরা, এটা কি কোনো কথা হইলো? Even test cricket moves faster because at least commentary থাকে, it feels more faster paced. Okay, enough complaining. অনেক কিছু নিয়ে কমপ্লেন করছি আমরা। I feel like আমরা সবাই একটা করে ব্যান খাবো 6 মাসের। Um, all right, let's kick off the last question. I'll kick this off. And I'm gonna throw it to Tulona first. So Tulona, পুরা বছরের মধ্যে, what are you most grateful about within this entire last year? সবচেয়ে বেশি কৃতজ্ঞতা বোধ করিস কি নিয়ে? সাবেদ ভাইয়া cannot be your answer twice. এটা বললে হবে না। আমি জানি তোর মন ওইখানেই গেছে।
অনেক অনেক ভালোবাসা, সাপোর্ট এন্ড দোয়া। সবাই আমাকে অনেক পছন্দ করে, অনেক দোয়া করে। এমন আছে যে আমাকে চিনে না, জানে না, তাও মানে আমি চিনি না, বাট মানে মিড ডে তেও এছাড়াও অনেক মানে আমার জন্য দোয়া করতেছিল। দেখলাম আমাকে আদর করে বলতেছিল তুমি পারবা। তো এইটা অনেক ভালো লাগছে যে না, মানুষ আমাকে অনেক ভালোবাসে, চায় যে আমি ভালো কিছু করি।
Yes. Yeah, you're an inspiration to all of Bangladesh. Like to me, to Rafiba, to AP, তুই একটা অনেক বড় inspiration to all of us. So thank you for doing what you do.
Thank-
We're very grateful for you as well. Rafiba, why don't you go next? No, actually, অনেক কথা বললা তুমি. Take your time. AP, go next.
Yeah.
What am I grateful for? I'm grateful that I can still manage the time to work out, get my sessions in. And I'm grateful for, not going through any kind of serious injury or accident that would keep me from training.
Yep.
Because, so in that sense, I think I've been one of the most consistent people in the sport, like never having to deal with any kind of obstacle that big. Definitely, the support from the people who really see me for who I am, you know, no big talks, no BS, just a very simple person, very calm person, just trying to get the job done, just minding my own business, respecting everyone. ঠিক আছে? People like, and like there was a bit of misconception, that I kind of want to clear out. Like ওই যে ফাউন্ডেশনের কথা বলছি, everyone thought, I'm just talking about myself. I'm not really talking about myself, but also the people who built it. ঠিক আছে? The OGs, like, not just me, but Rafi bhai, Imran bhai, Atib. ঠিক আছে? Like, that's where it started. We sealed the, floor, and that we just kept going up.
Mhm.
ঠিক আছে? এরকম। So yeah, like grateful for like people like them believing in me. That really does mean a lot. ঠিক আছে? Because I know their way of thinking, ঠিক আছে, their caliber and where they come from. So, যার তার opinion নিয়ে লাভ নেই, but the people who really matter, it's not just who you are on the platform, but the person you are outside, ঠিক আছে? এর জন্য like a lot of people,
Here, here.
like come up to me and they're like, like when I keep a poker face, a lot of people think I'm arrogant. ঠিক আছে? এটা ছোটবেলা থেকে শুনে আসছি. That's just how God made me, I guess. ঠিক আছে? Without any expression. But after they talk to me, they're like, oh man, you're such a chill person, such a nice person to talk to and whatnot. ঠিক আছে? So yeah, that's how I want everyone to feel. I want to feel, মানে make sure everyone feels, I'm welcoming, and like the friendship, the respect, the brotherhood should be there, the sportsmanship, all in all, because that's what we are at the end of the day. We are athletes. So as long as we can just keep all these in line, I guess we should be good. And I'm mostly grateful for having like a really supportive family, yeah, who understand how important training is to me. So yeah, that's about it, having good people around. Yeah, একটু philosophical হয়ে যাচ্ছে আজকে বেশি.
AP's on a roll আজকে with some of his answers. Like he's absolutely
I
killing.
don't know. I don't know,
Plus,
man.
bro, like তোমাকে সুন্দর দেখাচ্ছে অনেক আজকে কেন
Oh,
জানি না।
thank you, man. I
কালো
try.
লাগাইছো চেহারার মধ্যে সেই লাগতেছে।
Yeah.
গ্লেজ করে যাচ্ছি। No, I would love to go next. রাফি ভাই একটু সময় নাও। First and foremost, I want to add a little bit of context. It's our final question of the night. I want to say, Jay, I spent the first few years of my lifting career outside Bangladesh, right? And I competed in three different meets abroad before I ever competed Bangladesh. And every single meet I competed abroad, I was doing exactly, I understand exactly how Rafi feels. All I was thinking in my head is here's where the best 74 is at. Here's where Aditya is at. That one time Rahat beat Aditya, that one time Saad যখন Aditya Sam was obviously there. But like anytime somebody won Ultimate Championship, this is what the best GLP didn't even exist back then, right? Like তখন Dots এবং এর আগে Wilks দিয়ে খেলতাম আমরা Wilks like Tulona doesn't even know what Wilks is, শুনেই নাই কোনোদিন এটার নাম. But like we used to like I always was comparing in my head because like I'm competitive, right? That's me. I'm a competitive son of a bitch, and I can't change that about myself. That's what actually makes some of the best athletes in the world. And every single time I just felt like I wish I would give anything to be back home, right? To be amongst these people lifting together. And I am so unbelievably grateful, Jay. I get to do that. I've done it twice. I had the opportunity to do it a third time this year. I got an opportunity to represent my country internationally. It's been the longest standing dream that I've had ছোটবেলা থেকে ক্রিকেট খেলতে খুব ইচ্ছা করতো আব্বুকে বলছিলাম ছোটবেলায় যে বিকেএসপি তে ভর্তি করে দাও আমি internationally represent করতে চাই বাংলাদেশকে like on the national cricket team. I was never, truthfully, I was never good enough at cricket, right? Every little boy, like I know both of you probably relate to this at least on some level deep inside. To cricket খেলা খুবই ইচ্ছা ছিল, and we loved that shit. And I was never good enough, but in powerlifting, I was good enough, right? And then I became one of the best lifters in the nation. I was even skinnier than AP when he was like 75 kilos or something, right? I was like 59 kilos or something like that. And I looked so unbelievably skinny. I was bullied in high school for this shit, but we got to where we got to, and the journey has been fantastic, right? But in 2025 specifically, I am extremely grateful for one thing more than anything else, and that is I had the opportunity to inspire. And that's a beautiful thing. Like মানে APJ কথাটা বললো, I've never experienced this before in my life, but আমি এক একটা জিমে যাই. I have an athlete at, let's say, Raihan's in Dhanmondi, right across the street from Rustan's যে মানে সীমান্ত সম্পর্ক উল্টা দিকে স্টার কাবাবের উপর তলায়. I had an athlete Mirpur DOHSের workout club. Every time I go to these gyms, like I've been to probably like five different gyms that I've never been to before this year alone. And every time I go to a new gym, people will come up to me and say, Michelle ভাই তোমার সাথে একটা ছবি তুলতে পারি? And I've never met these boys before, girls before in my life, and I have no idea who they are, right? Like, কথা হয় নাই কোনোদিনও online, and they just know of me, right? And then they say things like Michelle Hat, like, মানে, maybe it's not যে like I inspired them through lifting only, but they're like, Michelle Hat, তুমি যে পড়াশোনার পাশাপাশি লিফটিংটা করছো, বিদেশে চাকরি করতে করতে লিফটিংটা করছো, তোমার কোনো সাপোর্ট ছিল না, এটা আমারও কোনো সাপোর্ট নাই, আমি তোমাকে দেখে ইন্সপায়ার্ড হই। Or Michelle Hat, একটা ছেলে সেদিনকে on a client call, like on an intro call, I think I told you about this, Faya. He goes, bro, মানে দেখো, like আমি এখন এফোর্ড করতে পারতেছি না তোমার ফিজটা, but before we hang up, like I just want to say one thing, and that is মানে আমার এসএসসি এইচএসসিটাতে আমি পুরোটাই ফেল করতাম, আমি ভালো করছি only because of the শত আশা podcast. And মানে তোমাদের মানে তোমাকে চিনে, রাফি ভাইকে চিনে, আতিক ভাইকে চিনে, তাসিন ভাইয়াকে চিনে, আদিত্য ভাইকে চিনে, এদেরকে চিনে চিনে তোমাদের যে কথাগুলো বলছো, like getting to know you guys, getting to know the character behind the lifts, এটা জেনে আমার like আমি লিটারালি এক হেডফোনে শুনতাম হচ্ছে ওই ইউটিউব ম্যান টিচিং মি ফিজিক্স এন্ড ম্যাথ এন্ড এটসেট্রা, অন্য হেডফোনে তোমাদের কথা শুনতেছি, and that's what kept me awake through the nights and it kept me grinding because if you guys could do it, so could I, right? And that is beautiful, like the greatest impact I feel like we can have as human beings. Again, I'm getting philosophical as hell like AP did, and I blame him because he kicked us off, but I think the greatest privilege we can have and the greatest experience we can have, one of the most fulfilling things you can experience as human beings on earth is getting to shape young minds, right? And the opportunity to inspire in any way, shape, or form. I will never take this for granted. Like it, I mean, like the fact that I get to go and serve as a team coach at Asian Championships, that's my very first international meet that I'm traveling with the team. And I'm handling every single athlete, even people I've never met. Netherlands থেকে আসছে, এমন মানুষদেরকে আমার হ্যান্ডেল করতে হচ্ছে, and মানে করতে পারতেছি, right? Like I get to do this. It's phenomenal. Like even though I didn't get to compete this year and I didn't get to live out my childhood dream that was kind of teed up for like a perfect meet and everything, I don't have any regrets. Like that's how fulfilling all of this has been for me, and I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity to just be here. Yeah, you're up, Rafi.
All right. I'm grateful for so many things. I'm grateful for powerlifting because powerlifting gives me a purpose to wake up to every single day and push. Um, it gives like, kind of like a break from, the break from life to escape into, this amazing, this is probably the two best hours of my day. I'm grateful I'm healthy. I'm able to do this. Not a lot of people have access to this. So I'm grateful for that. I am grateful for all the support that I get from, Bangladesh here. যে আমি হচ্ছে একটা স্টোরি পোস্ট করছি যে আমি কম্পিট করব in a local meet, that doesn't mean anything to them, and people are just showering love. So I'm super duper grateful for that. um I am, grateful for, both of my parents. মানে আমি আজকে যতটুকুই আসছি, I've come a long way. Like it's hard sometimes. I don't like appreciate, but I've come a long way from, my beginnings. বাংলাদেশ ছিলাম, পড়াশোনা করছি বুয়েটে, দেন এখানে মানে পড়াশোনা করতেছি, অনেক দূর আসছি, পাওয়ার লিফটিং এ ভালো করতেছি। So whatever I am grateful for আমার বাবা মার দোয়া, and of course I am obviously super duper grateful for, my wife, my kid. Like ওরা যেভাবে সাপোর্ট করে ওরকম যদি না করতো, like I wouldn't be able to kind of continue powerlifting the way I do right now.
I was gonna say, like, if you didn't mention Aisha Apu, like, I was gonna call you out on it and like, this is already both also the two best hours of your day is powerlifting, and she would already take up beef with that. But airport, if you don't mention her, that'll be shish.
She understands. She understands. Like
Beautiful.
I don't think I would be mentally sane without powerlifting. I don't think that's a hot take. Like
I think you speak for all of us, probably in
yeah.
the entire bed. AP, you're muted again, bro. Keep all decision the word to
Like that is so relatable, honestly. Like এই যে the scape, that word, especially রাফি ভাইয়ের সাথে রিলেট করতে পারি because মানে রাফি ভাইয়ের মতো like I'm not adulting at that level, like having your own family, your wife, your kid, but I can মানে he definitely has to go through a lot more. But yeah, like that escape, that মানে training যেমনই যাক as long as you're in the gym, like that drive to the gym, হেঁটে যাও বা gym নিয়ে যাও, you know that oh this is the time of the day.
For
Your
sure.
escape, you're just gonna feel good. All the hormones, all the endorphins, all the dopamine, they just kick right in. So yeah.
I just want to finish by saying, yeah, I'm very grateful for Rafi in general, right? Like he's been my coach. He's been an incredible source of inspiration for me. He's been my friend through so many. 2025 has been the worst year of my life, bar none, right? Like, and Bhaya knows this more than anyone else. Like, you've been by my side through all of this. Powerlifting, absolutely. Like you both just said, Jay, like it keeps me sane. Like you, in your hardest moments, যখন সবচেয়ে heavy লাগে পুরো দুনিয়াটা feels like it's on your shoulders, right? It's that one chance we have to dissociate from our reality without the use of various substances, right? Like this is the one time you get to be like, acha, you know what? No matter what, like it's just me and the bar, right? And we enjoy the sound of the plates for that reason. We're weirdos to the rest of the world, but it makes sense within this small community that we have, and I'm very grateful for this community. It's beautiful. Like Paya said, Jay, like the amount of support each of us get, we're so celebrated, right? Like strangers celebrating you is unreal. Like we're not in a mainstream sport, right? And still somehow আমাদেরকে এতখানি support দিচ্ছে মানুষে, এতখানি ভালোবাসা দিচ্ছে is unexpected. Like I know the two of you, when you were competing back in 2018, you did not ever foresee this, right? This level that the sport has grown into in just 7 years, 8 years, and we're only going to get better, right? This is the floor moving forward. We have to do better. And one final thing I'm super grateful for is Tulona এতক্ষণ জেগে আছে.
Oh yeah, there were so many times I thought she just passed out on the chair. But yeah, it's really important that we take notes because every mistake is a learning opportunity. So
Yeah.
like especially Michelle, like shout out to Michelle honestly because he was a huge help, a huge support running through this, going through the whole strength fest actually, not just BPC or নিজে compete করছে এইটে strong man and then he showed up on all days on time. So he was actually like quite the support, like especially when it came to the national records and the calculation. ও না থাকলে মনে হয় like it's kind of embarrassing to admit, but কারো মাথায় এটা আসতো না. And we might just have to settle for the round numbers other than the decimals. ঠিক আছে? So yeah, like just it's really important that we actually don't just keep these lessons here, but actually note them down আর আমরা মিটিং এ এই কথাগুলা লাইক উঠাই দিয়ে এগুলো নিয়ে ডিসকাস করি কারণ এই কার্পেটের কথাটা কিন্তু আমরা অনেকবার উঠছি কিন্তু আনফর্চুনেটলি খেলার আগে কথাটা উঠেই নেই আর লাইক আই ডোন্ট রিমেম্বার এনিওয়ান ব্রিং ইট আপ তো আমার এটা নিয়ে পার্সোনালি শুনাইছো আমার মাথায় আসে নাই কিন্তু এটা নিয়ে অনেকজনেরই কমপ্লেন ছিল আগে থেকে সো এটা একটু জাস্ট একজন যদি একবার বলতো তাহলে আই গেস a lot of things could have been avoided but yeah either way man I just don't want us to forget next time you know, like the screen that we had but didn't have this year, and then the
হোয়াইট
carpet,
লাইটস।
white lights, হ্যাঁ
Lights.
এটা
Lights is a huge
lights.
part of production
Lights তো
value.
থাকে, yeah, I don't know, like হঠাৎ করে last minute I guess they couldn't find it or something, that's what I heard. So এরকম, yeah, it was just there. So আর বিপিসি ছাড়া তো এগুলো ইউজও হয় না. So that
True.
is the problem,
That's right.
যে এক জায়গায় থাকে. So yeah, hopefully,
মেটাল কেভে থাকে।
মেডেল কেভে থাকে। তুমি তো
Like
অনেকবার
I know where they are. আমি
yeah.
দেখাই দিচ্ছি তোমাদেরকে তোমরা just নিয়ে আসো।
Right, yeah. So hopefully, yeah, like, I just hope সবাই যেন openly like constructive criticism দেয়. Like group, the group is there, Alliance group is there. Just keep posting, as long as it's relevant to the betterment of the sport, that's what we care about. ইচ্ছা মতো
Yes.
জাস্ট পোস্ট দিয়ে থাকো বিকজ ইউ গাইস হ্যাভ নো আইডিয়া দ্য কাইন্ড অফ স্টাফ আই হ্যাভ টু লাইক নট অ্যাপ্রুভ ইয়া অনেক ফানি ফানি জিনিস আসে অনেক মানুষের থেকে এনিওয়ে বেহুদাই বলছে এটা বাট ইয়া লাইক জাস্ট আই জাস্ট রিয়েলি ওয়ান্ট তুলনার জন্য মানে একটা মেসেজ আছে যে the মানে ফিমেল সেক্টরটা ইজ লাইক গ্রোয়িং বাট নট গ্রো ওয়ার উই ওয়ান্ট ইট টু বি
That's
সো
right.
ওর উপর অনেক বড় একটা রেসপন্সিবিলিটি আছে লাইক বিং সাচ আ প্রমিসিং অ্যাথলিট ও যেন লাইক রেগুলারলি একটু পোস্ট করে লাইক উইথ কন্টেন্ট or whatever এনিথিং তোমার ট্রেনিং এর ভিডিওস or whatever just to keep the ফিমেল সেক্টর গ্রোয়িং কারণ তুমি এত ইয়াং তোমাকে দেখে অনেকজন সাহস পাবে তার মা বাবাকে দেখাবে যে এই আপুটা এরকম করতেছে শি ইজ মাই এজ অর সো ইয়াং সো ওয়াই ক্যান্ট আই ডু ইট
100%.
ইনস্টাতে আমি পোস্ট করি বাট ফেসবুকে না কেমন জানি লাগে কারণ
ফেসবুকে না
ফেসবুকে
দিয়ে তুমি
অনেক।
গ্রুপে দিবা না আমি বুঝতেছি তুমি কি বলতেছো ওই যে আমাদের যে গ্রুপ আছে তো ওখানে
হ্যাঁ, ওকে
দ্য
ওকে।
অডিয়েন্স ইজ লিমিটেড
তুলনা একটা ইউটিউব খোল না।
খোলা যায়। আচ্ছা, ওকে।
Man, YouTube is so much work, man. I've been,
It
thinking
is.
about it. It's like you could really gotta get into the production value.
That's right.
রান্না
Editing
করে
অনেক
হয়
কাজ
না।
শিখতে হবে, all that like but তুলনা
আমি হচ্ছে
করে
পারি তো সব
right.
কিন্তু হচ্ছে মানে আমি ওয়ার্কআউটের সময় আমার মানে এইসব ভিডিও টিডিও করতে ভালো লাগে।
Right, no, I can totally relate. Yeah, এত কথা বলা, but there are some tips and tricks, বুঝছো? কথাগুলা পরেও বলতে পারবা, কিন্তু দেখাবা যে মাঝখানে বলছো, আগে বলছো।
না, কথাও বললো না, মানে আছে না যে একটা ভিডিও করতে হইলে তো অনেকগুলো শর্ট নিতে হয়, সিনেমেটিক, তো অনেকগুলো অ্যাঙ্গেল, এগুলো ভাবতে হয়, একটা স্টোরি বোর্ড করতে হয়।
True,
যেটা
true,
হচ্ছে মানে এইগুলোই যদি ভাবি তাহলে আমি ওয়ার্কআউটে কিভাবে কনসেন্ট্রেট করবো?
That
true.
takes
That is
place.
true. No, that is true. না তুমি জাস্ট এমনি তোমার ইসের দিও লাইক লাইক
ওই যে
র্যান্ডম
ওয়ার্কিং
স্কোয়াড
সেট গুলো
CrossFit
ইউজ
এক্সারসাইজ
করি।
stylist, exactly.
এরকম।
Little known fact, like Tulona actually has but she's wrapping up a degree in graphic design. So like in digital media or I
Nice.
don't I mean pura bhul নাম বলছি Tulona please correct নামটা বলিস আমার পর but মানে she if there's one person that can really edit and has an actual like academic degree in it within BP it's Tulona. It's kind of crazy.
By the way,
Right.
big shout out to Tiger Powerlifting.
Oh
ওরা
yeah.
হচ্ছে
Yeah.
like high production value video
হ্যাঁ
করতেছে.
হ্যাঁ
It's so much fun to watch. It
মাত্র
really
মানে এই মিশেলে বলার সাথে সাথে আর মাথায় আসছে যে
like
মানে আদিব ভাই ইজ লাইক সো ইনভেস্টেড ইন দিস লাইক হি ইজ বিন স্টেইং আপ এট নাইটস কলিং মি এভরি ডে asking me for feedbacks and whatnot so yeah he really looks forward to like really putting it out there
আমরা
so
একসাথে আমরা একসাথে জাজ করতেছি এন্ড আদিব ভাই হঠাৎ করে এসে বলে কি যে ব্রো শুনো লাইক ডাকছে আমাকে আমি হেঁটে গেলাম বলে কি মানে এই সেশনের পর একটু বইলো তো যে ভিডিওগুলা কিভাবে এডিট করবো তোমার কোনো স্পেশাল আইডিয়া থাকলে ওইটা আমরা মানে কাজে লাগাবো and I was like oh shit okay yeah let's do this like একটু হাই
right
প্রোডাকশন
yeah he's open to all kind of opinions
also
and like
also
help so
my 2026 wish list has to see Adib Bhai compete again.
আদিব
yeah
ভাই
really looking
করবে
come
forward to
মেবি
it
on
কম্পেট।
the one man যে এপিকে actually রাতে ঘুমাইতে দেয় নাই for 5 years non-stop was Adib Bhai he has to make a comeback it must happen my 2026 wish list is Rafi Bhai gets to compete either in Bangladesh or on behalf of Bangladesh
Yes,
আমিও
inshallah.
দেখতে চাই ভাইয়াকে।
Inshallah.
রাফি ভাই
ইনশাল্লাহ।
আসলে
yes
এআই
yes
দিয়ে তৈরি নাকি না তুলনা তো জানেও না crazy
But yeah, I do miss having Rafi bhai in Nats for real. Like আগে একসাথে এতদিন আমরা compete করছি। ঠিক আছে? So
it feels
yeah.
incomplete without him. Like
Oh
without
yeah.
his presence, it's just like ভাই like Avengers হয়ে গেছে ক্যাপ্টেন আমেরিকা নাই তাহলে কেমনে কেমনে আগাবো আমরা
সেটাই।
Right.
Inshallah. Next year.
Yeah.
With that
I
being
guess.
said, like it
Yeah.
was just awesome to have this amazing discussion with all of you guys. Very grateful for Aditya and Tulona. Tulona এত কষ্ট করে রাত জেগে আছে আমাদের জন্য. So thank you for that. Um, but yeah, this is the BPC recap show. Um, আমরা যখন ভিডিওটা আপ করব তখন like all of the lists that we just mentioned, I just want to point it out again. These are all just our own opinion. And আপনাদের opinion যদি different হয় তাহলে আমাদেরকে কমেন্টে জানান and let's have a discussion.
yeah
Right.
let's what he means is let's have like fights in the comment
Oh man, yeah. Cyber warfare, yeah.
yes, sir
Yeah.